All right, usual slowdowns in effect, especially if you are eastbound 440 between 65 and 24. Then once you get going on 24, look out. We've got an abandoned vehicle. This is going to be westbound, blocking the right lane and the right shoulder just past Laverne. And right now in Brentwood, I'm seeing a multi-vehicle crash. This is going to be southbound 65, the left shoulder blocked right there in Brentwood. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is 7 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, and you're listening to The Drive here on Super Talk, and we're going to be here all the way till 7 o'clock. I am your friend. I am your radio buddy. I'm your farb, or as they call me around here these days, short timer. But we're gonna pretend
better than
like
old timer.
Maybe old time. Yeah, maybe that's better accurate. Holy crap! In the last few minutes.
Yeah.
If you, I tell you what, the announcements about this Trump lineup have been really interesting, and of course, in the last few moments, Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence. That's a very interesting choice. It's a sort of a surprise choice. She's loved in MAGA world. She's loved, a former Democrat, now turned Republican, and she's going to be nominated to be the director of national intelligence. If you don't know, that's the person who sits atop the entire intelligence apparatus. You got your CIA, you got your NSA, you got all these other intelligence agencies, and sitting atop them, where all the information flows, at the very top is the DNI, Director of National Intelligence, and that person has, all the secrets. There's only two people that have that kind of knowledge or level of that knowledge, and that would be the Director of National Intelligence and the President of the United States. Marco Rubio is the choice for the State Department, and I think easy confirmation there, and a brilliant choice. But I got to tell you, the one that's going to garner a lot of attention, and I'm not even sure he can be confirmed by a Republican-controlled Senate, is Matt Gaetz. He's a controversial choice for Attorney General. And, look, MAGA world loves him. Trump loves him. And he's very popular in the Trump orbit. But I got to tell you, he's been controversial over at the House of Representatives. And I can look at, remember, we got 53 Republican votes in the Senate. And if he goes for confirmation, I'm not even sure he can get out of committee. I'm not even sure that he can get passed in the full Senate if he does get out of committee, because you got people like, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, there'll be others who just will not be able to vote for Matt Gaetz. And again, that's a very interesting choice for Attorney General of the United States. I have a theory. Maybe that's designed to cause outrage. Maybe that is a poke the bear kind of appointment and nomination for Attorney General, knowing that immediately there will be a lot of U.S. attorneys and other people at the Department of Justice who, if he's going to be our Attorney General, I am out of here. And I think that would not be a terrible thing. The Department of Justice has become a den of snakes. It really has, and it's turned into a political position, and that's going to be really, really, really interesting to see how that works out. We'll watch that. Of course, let me just run through for you all of the the nominations. Got a list here going. Obviously, J.D. Vance is vice president. Marco Rubio nominated for State Department. Chief of Staff at the White House, a very powerful position, and I don't think it requires confirmation. Susie Wiles. UN Ambassador is Elise Stefanik. EPA Administrator is Lee Zeldin. National Security Advisor is Mike Waltz. That's also not a confirmable position. You can choose anybody you want to be your National Security Advisor, and it does not come under the purview of Senate confirmation. CIA, John Ratcliffe. DOD, Pete Hegseth. But let me stop for a moment. Pete Hegseth, we got that announcement yesterday. Big announcement and a surprise. And, of course, Pete's a friend of this program. He has a standing appointment on Wednesdays at 4:35. I don't know if he's going to be here or not. Now, my expectation is his phone has blown up. He is most of the people who, when they get these nominations, they come out and they say a word or two, and then they're not going to say anything more. And they're told not to do interviews while they're nominees and going through that process. But we have a deal with Pete. Chris, back me up on this. I mean, we have a standing opening position for Pete Hegseth at 4:35. He just shows up.
Yep.
I mean, we never talk to him in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We never know, we never check, hey, you're going to be there. He just calls in. And the only time we ever hear from him is if something has happened in his schedule where he can't make it.
Right.
And we often, at 4:35, we're coming out of the commercial break, and I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, and we're wondering, is Pete going to be there? And like clockwork, at about 4:37, he calls in.
There it is. Yep.
And I can look at you and I go, well, that's Pete. He's right on time. And that's the only time we hear from him, is when he can't be there. So I sent him a text yesterday, just sort of like saying, look forward to our conversation tomorrow at 4:35, expecting him to send me back a note saying, no, that ain't going to happen. But I haven't heard anything. So you and I are going to be, waiting at 4:35 wondering, is he going to be here? Is he not going to be here?
Will the phone ring?
Will the phone ring? My guess is probably not.
Yeah.
I think what probably happens is he puts a reminder in his calendar, and it rings at 4:35, and then he reaches for his phone and he calls in. And I don't think he will have thought about it until 4:35. And then I think we'll either get a quick text saying, sorry, Brian can't be there, or I think there's a chance he might call.
We shall see.
What do you think? You think he's going to call?
I don't know. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense, I think an inspired position. A nomination. I really like that idea. I think he's going to be great. Kristi Noem, Homeland Security. Look, the Homeland Security's got. It's a big old agency with a lot of different moving parts. They do many, many different things over there. And Kristi Noem is, I think, a very capable person. That one's going to be really, that's a viper's nest as well that needs to be cleaned out. We got to get rid of Alejandro Mayorkas, that's for sure. So any improvement would be about that. Borders are, again, not a confirmable position as far as I can tell. Tom Horman, and I like this guy. I mean, he's ready to tear him up. I think if he's going to be standing outside the building on Inauguration Day, ready to rush in and start doing his job. He's loaded for bear. Then I said Tulsi Gabbard as DNI. And then the interesting, again, I don't think these are confirmable positions. They call it the Department of Governmental Efficiency, which is an oxymoron in some ways, but it's Doge, and that's going to be Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Now that is an inspired combination. I mean, I would hate to try to estimate what the combined IQ of those two individuals is, but I don't know anybody smarter than Elon Musk. The one thing that Elon Musk sort of lacks, Vivek Ramaswamy has in spades. Elon is an original thinker, outside the box, looks at things, results oriented. I mean, the things that he's accomplished are astonishing, really, truly astonishing. But he's not a great communicator. But on the other hand, Vivek is probably one of the best political communicators I've ever seen. And putting those two together, the combined brain power and the combined skills of those two individuals, that's going to be, that's going to be a thing to watch. But again, it's not a confirmable position. It's an advisory position to the president, as best I can tell. The way they're doing this, there won't be any requirement for a confirmation hearing, so they can get after it. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to advise the president on what they would like to do on a reorganization of government. And that's going to be fun to watch. I mean, that'd be a full-time job right there, just watching those two guys. And I'm sure there will be reporters put on the government efficiency beat. That'll be interesting. So, wow, just wow. This is quite the lineup. The Matt Gaetz thing may be designed to draw heat, and maybe even, maybe Trump's sincere about it, and he thinks he can get him through. I'm not sure he can, but we'll see what happens as that one goes forward. The rest of them, I don't think are going to be any serious problem. And maybe that, again, is why you have one that's really controversial. He grabs all the heat and everybody else sort of slides through without too much trouble. Well, we're going to focus on Gaetz. Are you serious about Gaetz? I don't know. Is he trolling the Democrats, or is he sincere about it? I really can't tell at this point, but it's going to be an interesting choice. And we'll see how that all goes. Trump was in D.C. today, met in the Oval Office with the President of the United States, and I'll give you some of that coming up here in just a moment. Let's call it. Well, no, I got time to do that now. Trump in the Oval Office with Biden. It was brief, and it was cordial.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President, thank you, Donald. Congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having, like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. It's good. Welcome back.
And, thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome.
And
thank you all.
Bye-bye. And the chaos went on for about 3 minutes. I don't know why they do that. Why? I mean, what comes out of that? Nobody gets a question in. But anyway, predictably, everybody on their best behavior except the press corps. And then there was a briefing at the White House, and there was this question to Karine Jean-Pierre, which I thought was really interesting.
But a lot was said on the campaign trail, like Trump is a dangerous threat to our country and our democracy. Was there an apology today?
I'm sorry?
Was there an apology from President Biden for the words, some of the words used?
An apology from the President Biden.
To President-elect Trump for some of the words that was used on the campaign trail.
I mean, it's a great question. Remember that when he said that? He said,
We got to lock him up.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff. That the Trump supporters were garbage, and that he needs to be smacked in the ass. That was a direct quote as well. Well, I mean, so Karine Jean-Pierre, she was like, "Are you suggesting that we needed to make an apology?" I mean, she seemed like, "What in the world are you talking about?"
Sorry?
Was there an apology from President Biden for some of the words used?
An apology from the President Biden.
To President-elect Trump for some of the words that was used on the campaign trail.
Look, and I've answered this a couple of times about a threat to democracy in the past week. The president is going to always feel obligated to be honest with the American people.
Okay, so that's not an apology, and she's not backing down over the things that have been said, right? Yeah, he's got to be honest. But it was cordial today. Trump is already back in Florida. Apparently, he was on his aircraft and he was sending up. Yep, Rubio. Yep, Gabbard. Yep, Matt Gaetz. Send him out. Let's go. Things are happening fast and furious. You know what we're going to do? We're going to open up the phone lines because I want to know what you think about all this. 615-737-9986. Right now, 20 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Let me tell you about the folks over at Beacon Capital Management. That you may be wondering with this presidential election, is it going to impact your money in some way, your investments, your retirement? What do the political environment do to the investments that you've made? Do you need to make adjustments? Well, you're not alone. There are steps you can take to be better positioned regardless of what happens. You deserve the confidence to know that no matter what is going on in the economy, you have a plan that helps keep your financial goals in line with your life's priorities. If you're in or nearing retirement, Beacon Capital Management has a free retirement-ready toolkit just for you. You'll get a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. No cost, no obligation, and no pressure. Here's the number, 615-488-9303, to get your free retirement-ready toolkit. That number again, 615-488-9303.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Trump transition, busy day. And here in Middle Tennessee, who is to blame for a middle schooler suffering 2 strokes and needing emergency brain surgery? All this and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, we have a lot of picks, the cabinet picks. I mean, there's still a ton of people to be chosen for some of these other cabinet positions. So let's go to the phone line, 615-737-9986. What do you think about all this? We'll start with Tim and Orlinda. Hey, Tim, you're on with Brian on the drive. So how do you like the picks thus far?
They're going along pretty good, but I had a comment about a comment that Melania Trump made about Alejandro Mayorkas, and it had something to do with treason. I was wondering if you guys heard that, or if you're going to discuss that.
I have to say no, I haven't, but that's an interesting thing. I mean, look, Alejandro Mayorkas, I think, has not acquitted himself well. I think that the man should be. We should have been impeached. That didn't go anywhere. But here we are. We're replacing him, and then some of these picks I think are going to be very interesting to see how they come in and take hold of these agencies that have been infiltrated and by so many people on the left and are buried deep within the system. It's not going to be an easy thing. Adam in Columbia, you're up with Brian on the drive. What do you know, Adam? What's your thought about these cabinet picks?
Brian, first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for bringing your knowledge, wisdom, and experience to Super Talk 99.7. You will be missed daily on the airwaves, but thank you for doing what you do. My opinion, probably one of the biggest ones that Trump has made is the Matt Gaetz appointment. And I think that one really stands out because it's going to be a litmus test for the Senate to see how in line the Senate is with Trump on these confirmations, because he's the only one that I've heard in the entire list that I could see anyone pumping the brakes on. So this could be Trump saying, "Hey, I'm going to test the waters and see what the Senate's going to do."
Yeah, you may be right, and my I haven't looked as closely at the makeup of the new Senate, but I mean there are always a couple of very very want to use the word moderate, but very. The Republicans really in name only in many ways, and they always will throw up a roadblock. Remember, you got to get enough votes. There's not going to be any Democrat votes for Matt Gaetz. I can assure you that. There will be some Democrat votes for some of these nominees. I mean, we've already heard from Fetterman that he likes Rubio as Secretary of State. So those things are going to be interesting, but I don't think he can. I'm not sure he can get out of committee, and I'm not sure look, it's not my personal belief. I'm not making a judgment about the nomination. I'm giving you my political read on the situation, and I think that's going to be a tough one to get through the Senate. But maybe maybe you're right. Maybe it's a test. Just how reliable will the Senate be on this matter? And if you have one that's controversial and everybody focuses their ire on that one, maybe the others slide through real good, and maybe that was your strategy all along. I don't know. We'll find out. Thank you for that, Adam. Colin on the road, what do you think, Colin? What about these nominees? What do you like? What do you dislike? What's your thought?
I like them all. So far, so good. They got big shoes to fill. Obviously, actions speak louder than words. So we want to see, them fulfill the agenda that we're looking at. But I've got a couple questions for you, Brian. One, where are you going to? You leaving the show?
No, I'm not. I'm leaving. I made an announcement last Friday that I'm going to be stepping away and retiring from full-time broadcasting. In case you missed it, on the 24th of December will be my last full-time show.
I got you. One other question. Yesterday you had a gentleman on speaking about the conviction that Trump faced and whether or not he was actually labeled a felon. Can you give me information, a name or whoever, where that?
Yeah, that was Andrew McCarthy, and he was on Fox, and he's a very good legal mind. And he said, basically, you're not a convicted felon until you actually are sentenced. You may have been convicted by a jury, but you're not really technically a felon until you're sentenced, and that's why the Trump lawyers are asking him to set everything aside pre-sentencing and just say, there's some real questions about whether or not that case will stand, given some of the decisions of the Supreme Court of late with regard to presidential immunity. So that's where that stands. Look, I don't know what's going to happen there. I think that judge may be playing some games. Listen, if you are on the line, do me a favor, stay right there. We have to break for the news. We got more calls coming in. I'd love to hear more about what you think about all this. 615-737-9986. Right now, let's check in with Ken Weaver for the news at 3:30.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now, President-elect Trump announcing key cabinet nominations for his new administration.
President-elect Trump Wednesday naming his choices for several key seats in his new administration. For Secretary of State, Trump tapping his one-time presidential primary opponent, Republican Senator Marco Rubio. Trump's pick for Attorney General, Republican Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Former Democratic Congresswoman turned Trump supporter Tulsi Gabbard has been chosen for Director of National Intelligence. And for Secretary of Defense, Trump nominating Fox News host Pete Hegseth. Both Gabbard and Hegseth are military veterans.
That is Dave Packer reporting. Republicans will control both chambers of Congress. John Thune was elected the new Senate Majority Leader. And I just saw an alert from Politico that Mike Johnson has clinched the GOP Speaker nomination. Here in Middle Tennessee, 2 employees are on administrative leave, and at least 3 agencies are investigating after a Montgomery County middle schooler suffered 2 strokes and required emergency brain surgery after an incident on a bus. Channel 4's Steve Mailing reports on who might be held responsible.
Jamie Horton's days are being spent here at Monroe Carroll Children's Hospital in Nashville. Instead of her son being in a school classroom, he's recovering from a massive stroke that has now turned their lives upside down. 12-year-old Hayden Horton was riding the bus the Friday before fall break in October. At some point on the bus ride home, Jamie says her son was put in a headlock by a high school student. She says based on video seen by investigators, that lasted for 14 seconds. 1 week later, Hayden was rushed to Vanderbilt, where he was found to have suffered multiple strokes resulting from a vascular tear in his neck.
Yeah, Jamie Horton says she was especially concerned when she was told adults on the bus didn't step in to help her son. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right near the airport, got a crash. Police reporting it Briley Parkway northbound at I-40. Then in Brentwood, got a crash, right lane, or rather right shoulder block, 65 southbound. There at Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Have you heard about the item Costco keeps running out of? I'm talking about gold bars. They just can't keep them in stock. Gold's breathtaking surge this year to repeated record highs hasn't stopped bullion from flying off the shelves. It's not only the best performing commodities, it's also outperforming other assets like stocks and bonds. The surge has been driven by its appeal as a safe haven asset in times of geopolitical and economic uncertainty. You know where you can get gold when Costco doesn't have any? You need to reach out to my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin. I've been telling you about them. They sell the same high-quality products as Costco and other national online retailers. They will not overcharge you, and as a bonus, you'll be supporting a locally owned business. Kyle and Hannah are true experts, and you can count on top-of-the-line, personalized customer service. Nashville Gold and Coin is the best place to buy gold in Middle Tennessee. You'll be dealing with experts instead of some random store clerk with zero knowledge about precious metals. So make an appointment today with Nashville Gold and Coin. Go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
You thought the election was over and that the news would be slow. You'd be wrong about that, because there've been a flurry of things coming out of Donald Trump world about who he's going to put in his next government. And this afternoon, it was made known that Marco Rubio would be his nominee for Secretary of State. Tulsi Gabbard will be the Director of National Intelligence, if she can get confirmed. And Matt Gaetz, that's the one that I think everybody's going, wow, that's a poke the bear kind of nomination. But he's been nominated to be the Attorney General of the United States. And that's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. I'm ready to break some China here. I'm ready to, sort of ruffle the feathers and go in there and start rebuilding government, because government is not working for the people, and we need that to change. So I'm okay with some radical ideas here. I really am. But, they have to get confirmed by the U.S. Senate, and that'll be interesting to see. I think most of these will sail through. I think Gaetz is very controversial. I mean, he's got a House ethics matter that's still pending. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But anyway, interesting choice. On the phone lines now, we're going 615-737-9986. Russell, thank you for hanging on. I greatly appreciate it. Your thought about how Trump world is shaping up?
Well, I got a couple of things about it. We put our faith in Trump because we showed him when we voted that we put our faith in there. So I think we just need to sit back and let him do his job and not interfere. I mean, the Democrats will be interfering enough with him, so let's just let him do his job. But his pick for the border czar, which is something that is very important to me, was a great choice. I think this guy is going to do wonders to secure our borders.
Yeah, Tom Homan is ready. He's itching to go. And we played a long soundbite from him yesterday. I like that guy. And the great thing about a czar is that a czar doesn't have to go through Senate confirmation. So it'll be interesting to see. There's several people that are going to be really important players in this administration, it would appear, that will not have to go through Senate confirmation, and that's a good thing. Joe calling in. Joe, what's your thought? Again, thank you for hanging on. How do you think it's shaping up? What do you like? What do you dislike? What are your thoughts? All right, Steve in Cookville, you're up next on The Drive. Hey, Steve, what's on your mind? What do you think about these choices?
I think they're great choices, Brian, and I hope he keeps making great choices. Can I make a couple of suggestions? Carrie Lake for Director of Communications, and Peter Ducey for Press Secretary.
I'm sorry, Steve, you broke up on both of those. You want to try it one more time? Carrie Lake for...
Communications Director.
Yeah.
And Peter Ducey for Press Secretary.
That'd be interesting. I don't know. I sort of think Alina Habba is going to get the press secretary job. Really, when you think about it, it's not a confirmable position, of course. It's somebody who represents the face of the administration, and she's really good. There are others out there who are incredibly capable. This Carol Levitt, she's pretty good. I don't know how that's all going to shape out. I actually thought the person I would like to see as the communications director would have been Vivek Ramaswamy, because he could go toe-to-toe with that press corps any day. Any day. That would be fun to watch. Okay, thanks, Steve. Let's go to Dave in Hendersonville. Dave, the cabinet is shaping up. Some very interesting choices. I think almost all of them, are very interesting choices and inspired in many ways. What do you think?
Well, thanks for taking my call, Brian. I want to start out by saying I hate to see you go, brother. I've been listening to you since day one with your FARB stickers and everything. You have been a major asset to this radio station.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
I love every one of his picks. I've got a question for you. I especially like Pete's pick on this, but I got a question for you, and I got a nomination for the press secretary too.
Okay.
The press secretary, I nominate Tim Weaver. and my question for you is, could they take and prosecute how do you say his name? Alejandro Mayorkas?
Yep.
For treason?
I don't know that could happen. But boy, do I ever think that there was a guy who should be charged with treason. It's that guy. He simply was an obstructionist to doing everything that should be done to protect our border. He was a bad actor, and of course he's doing exactly what the president wanted. So where do you point? The president who appointed him and stood behind him, or the man who's carrying out the policies of the president? There's your question. Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it. Rick in Columbia, you're up next on The Drive. Your thoughts about some of these nominations that we're seeing?
Well, Brian, I'm 100% on board with Mr. Trump's cabinet selections, except for Matt Gaetz. Brother, this is thrown me a Sandy Koufax kind of a curveball, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
First off, when you have candidates for AG with equal ability, why choose one where the rightfully or wrongfully will bring this baggage that Matt's going to bring with him? And the second one, people won't care to hear about this, but I just don't like the guy. That guy reminds me of California's Governor Newsom, just not exactly trustworthy, little weasel acting.
All right. Well, look, he's a big, Trump loves him, and he has been very loyal. But he has a lot of enemies, and not to mention a House ethics matter that has not yet been resolved. And I just think that, that's the one I think that's going to cause some people heartburn in Washington. I mean, look, he couldn't be any worse than Merrick Garland. Trust me on that. But I just don't know whether or not he can get through on confirmation. Be interesting to see how that plays out. Give that about 48 hours and see where it stands. That'll be interesting. Thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it. Tony in Columbia, you're up next on the drive. What do you think, Tony?
Well, I've sitting here just flipped it by CNN, and the headline says shock waves over controversial Trump cabinet picks. And I think anything that upsets CNN is probably a good deal. But I've got a name I want to throw out for, I don't know, where press secretary. I'm not exactly certain what would be the best thing. It's somebody, I think his first name is Brian. The last name is Wilson, I think.
Yeah.
So he's pretty good.
Yeah, well, listen, it's wild horses couldn't drag me back to that swamp, man. I'm sorry. Not that anybody wants me to be that job, but thank you for that. That's very kind of you. Let's see. Let's go to Clint in Castilian Springs. Clint, your thoughts? What do you think?
Hi, Brian. It's not that I dislike the picks, but I'm very concerned about losing both Elise Stefanik and Matt Gaetz in the House. They're two of the smartest and strongest supporters that President Trump has there. And I'm very concerned about how Elise Stefanik in particular is going to be, her replacement is going to be chosen.
I was wrong about this yesterday. I believe it requires New York law, and I just wasn't familiar with New York election law, but New York, apparently it goes directly to a special election to replace her. And she's in a very reliably red district in New York, believe it or not. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. I was a little concerned at first, but as I do a little more research, I'm less concerned about that than I was yesterday.
Well, that's helpful, I guess. But he needs all the support he can get in the House. So.
Yep, I know. And the margins are thin. My theory about the House is, I mean, I would not raid the House. There are a lot of good choices that would not require going to the House. But, I think the margins are too thin. And I think that one in the hand is worth two in the bush. And just, it's going to be such a thin margin. Right now, by the way, the House of Representatives, you got a lot of organizations that have gone and gone ahead and made the projection. CNN made the projection. NBC made the projection. Real Clear Politics made the projection that the Republicans will control. But AP has not. And Fox follows the AP decision desk after they shut down their main decision desk on election night. I happen to know this. And so they haven't said it, but it's at 217 in the AP poll. So they're one away. But like I say, virtually everybody else has just accepted the fact that Republicans are going to be in control of the House of Representatives. And as you heard a moment ago, it looks like Speaker Johnson's coming back. And in a moment, we'll give you all the details about what happened in the Senate today as far as Senate leadership is concerned. I can tell you this, it's not going to be Rick Scott out of Florida, as many people had hoped. All right, let's see if I got one more. I'll go to Susan in Columbia. Susan, you're up next on the drive. What do you think about what has happened?
Well, I'm wondering about RFK. Is he still in the picture?
Yes. He's going to take on a bunch of different things with regard to the, but I don't think that's, again, I think that's more of a czar type situation, presidential advisor. He's going to be making recommendations. As I understand it, I don't think he's been officially nominated to carry out any kind of cabinet position. But yes, he's going to be involved, and it'll be interesting to see what he has to do. Look, I mean, thank you, by the way, for all the calls. Here's the thing. I'm ready to rattle the cages. I'm ready to ruffle the feathers. I'm ready to kick butt and take some names. I am ready to go into Washington, D.C. and do it in an aggressive way and just say, you know what? What we have is simply not working for the American people. Let's reinvent this sucker. Let's do something that makes it more responsive to the people who make these decisions. Look, I think a lot of these people are the kind of people who are doing. Pete Hegseth at the Department of Defense, inspired choice. I love that. You got some others that are, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard at DNI. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that one at all. But we've got a lot of positions out there that have not yet been filled that are going to be, very interesting to watch. The only one that just jumps out at me as potentially problematic is, and I've already said it, is Matt Gaetz. And when I say problematic in that, I don't think he can get confirmed. The Senate has a responsibility here under the Constitution to advise and consent. I just think that one might be too much of a change agent and to get through. I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence based on believe me, I have covered some confirmation hearings in my day. I wish I had a nickel for every time I covered a Senate confirmation hearing, whether it was for Supreme Court or for cabinet positions or whatever. It is, I probably have done hundreds. And I know that game very well. And I just think that one, based on the makeup of the Senate, probably is going to be a tough push. It's going to be real hard. All right, we're going to break there. It is now 51 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Trump transition, Americans' credit card debt reaching another all-time high. These stories and more at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, listen, gentlemen, make a mention here that in the next hour, we may or may not have Pete Hegseth on as a guest. We're just not sure. Hang around. It'll be interesting to see if he shows up or not. But one way or the other, we're prepared for another hour. We got changes in D.C. with regard to the leadership in the House and Senate. All right, we're looking at the markets now. Dow Jones Industrial up 47. The S&P ended the day up just over a point. The NASDAQ was down 50, so mixed boards today. What's driving all this market activity today? Let's check in with Ty Draper over at Beacon Capital Management. Good afternoon, Ty.
Yeah, hey, Brian. The markets were as mixed today as the precipitation, as the Dow and the S&P inched slightly higher while the NASDAQ and Russell moved lower. These moves were a result as October inflation numbers being right in line with projections, but unfortunately slightly higher year over year. This data is going to directly line up with the Fed intent to lower interest rates in December and with the Fed dot plot indicating that more cuts are coming in the coming year. Now, will the Trump trade continue to move the market higher? Tune in tomorrow and Friday as PPI and retail sales numbers are going to be reported.
All right, thank you very much, Ty. And to find out what Ty Draper, John Maxon, and all the good people over at Beacon Capital Management can do to help you get ready for your retirement, just go to the website, askbeaconnow.com. 59 minutes past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And election 2024. Republicans projected to control now both chambers of Congress. In the House, we see that Mike Johnson has support of Republican members to continue as Speaker. President-elect Trump naming his choices for several key seats in his new administration. For Secretary of State, Trump tapping his one-time presidential primary opponent, Republican Senator Marco Rubio. Karen Travers says Trump's pick for Attorney General, Republican Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz.
If confirmed, he would lead the same agency that spent years investigating him over allegations of sex trafficking. The Justice Department informed him last year it would not seek charges, and Gaetz has long denied any wrongdoing.
Former Democratic Congresswoman turned Trump supporter Tulsi Gabbard has been chosen for Director of National Intelligence, and for Secretary of State, Trump nominating Fox News host Pete Hegseth. Both Gabbard and Hegseth Hegseth are military veterans. John Thune was selected today as Senate Majority Leader to replace Mitch McConnell.
This Republican team is united. We are on one team. We are excited to reclaim the majority and to get to work with our colleagues in the House to enact President Trump's agenda.
And how about the Biden-Trump meeting today in the Oval Office, Sherry Preston?
President-elect sitting down with the president in the Oval Office. Biden telling Trump,
Congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need.
with a fire burning behind the two leaders in the Oval Office, Donald Trump saying to President Biden,
"Thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get."
4 years ago, Donald Trump did not invite Biden to the White House. Before this meeting, the president-elect met with House Republicans on Capitol Hill, telling them,
"Well, thank you very much. This is a very nice gathering. Isn't it nice to win? It's nice to win."
Americans are charging it. Credit card debt reaching an all-time high. Here's Dave Packer.
Americans' credit card balances ballooning to $1.17 trillion in the third quarter of this year, climbing $24 billion in just 3 months. Total household debt, including student loans, mortgages, and auto loans, now stands at nearly $18 trillion. Despite this, the New York Fed says rising disposable income is helping cushion the impact. Delinquency rates showed slight improvement last quarter, but more consumers are falling behind on payments compared to last year. Those balances and delinquencies often spike during the holiday season.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Yeah, it is especially slow go as you are eastbound 24 getting out of downtown. You're coming to complete stops over there at 40. Then the brake tapping is all the way down to Bell Road. North and southbound 65 between downtown and Brentwood is bumper to bumper at times. One of the reasons is a multi-vehicle crash, 65 southbound right there in Brentwood with the southbound right shoulder blocked. And then Briley Parkway northbound at I-40. You got a crash there reported by police near the airport. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 8 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson. I am your friend and radio buddy, and you're listening to The Drive on this 13th day of December, a Wednesday. Now, here's the thing. As you know, on Wednesdays, when we're lucky, we get to talk to Pete Hegseth from Fox and Friends Weekend Edition, and a resident here in Middle Tennessee. He lives up in Sumner County. And here's the thing. When Pete, when we have these things, it's been a standing sort of invitation every Wednesday at 4:35, and we don't ever talk in between. He just calls. I mean, and he's been very reliable. And the only time we actually hear from him in between, and most of the time, is when he can't make it. So yesterday, as you know, during the latter hours of our program, Pete Hegseth was nominated to be the Secretary of Defense. And I sent him a text saying, wow, that's amazing. See you tomorrow. And then it's sort of half joking, because I wouldn't be surprised if he is prohibited from calling in. May have a bigger fish to fry, as you say. But he hasn't responded. So what do I do in that situation? If he calls, clearly I want to go to him. And I don't know. I would say it's 50-50. We might get a call from him at the proper time, or he might get the little tickler on his phone that tells him it's time to call me, and then remember that he hasn't told me he's not going to be there, and we'll get a text message from him then. So it's going to be one of these game time, last moment decisions. But if he calls in at 4:35, of course, we're going to take that call and put him immediately on the air. If not, I'm prepared to talk about other things. But that's that. So, hang around to find out if Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth calls in today. I honestly just don't know. My guess is, I'll be honest, probably not. But I don't know, because he hasn't told us that he's not going to be there.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's the only time we ever hear from him.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. Anyway, it's a tremendous thing. In case you're just joining us, Marco Rubio, nominated for State Department, Secretary of State. Tulsi Gabbard, chosen as Director of National Intelligence under Trump. And then the sort of, I would have to say, the only way you can say it is it's a controversial appointment. And that's Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. Now, if there's something sort of like, yeah, turn him loose, man, that'll be fun to watch. Get that den of vipers straightened out. That may be good. But there's this whole thing about, can he be confirmed by the Republican Senate? Speaking of which, we have a new majority leader of the Senate. It is not, as many of you had hoped, Rick Scott. It is John Thune, who spoke shortly after he was, I think it was 2 ballots. They had 3 candidates. You had John Thune, John Cornyn, Rick Scott. They take a first ballot, and whoever's at the bottom of the pile drops out for the second ballot. And that was Rick Scott. He did not make the second ballot. So it was the 2 Johns, John Thune and John Cornyn. And at the end of the day, I think it was 29-24. It was Thune. Thune wins. And he came out and spoke to reporters afterwards.
And this Republican team is united. We are on one team. We are excited to reclaim the majority and to get to work with our colleagues in the House to enact President Trump's agenda. We have a mandate from the American people. A mandate not only to clean up the mess left by the Biden-Harris-Schumer agenda, but also to deliver on President Trump's priorities. We will make sure that the president and his team have the tools and the support that they need to enforce border security laws and to remove the violent criminals who are wreaking havoc in every one of our states. We will work to make America prosperous again by streamlining the bureaucratic machine and overturning costly Biden-Harris regulations. And we will work to restore American energy dominance. Not just our energy security, but energy dominance, which will lower costs and bolster our national security. I'm excited to get to work with this team right away, and I want to thank my colleagues who placed their faith in me to serve as leader, and to those who were supporting another candidate I promise to be a leader who serves the entire Republican conference.
There you go. John Thune making his announcement this morning after being elected by his colleagues in the Senate as the incoming majority leader, replacing Mitch McConnell, who spent 17 years in that role. The longest time a politician has held a position of leader in the Senate ever. The longest time ever. So John Thune, South Dakota. I know he wasn't the choice of many of you out there. But he is the choice of the United States Senate. Is he going to keep the filibuster? Yes. And he says that, he will be very sensitive to something that is unique about the United States Senate is that it looks out not only for, passing laws and doing things to get the majority's agenda across, but also he's going to be protective of the filibuster and the rights of the minority.
Well, I mean, the Senate, as you know, is by the founders' design, a place where the minority has a voice in our process, and we will do the job that the founders intended us to do in the United States Senate and that the American people intend us to do. And that, right now, after this mandate election coming out of the American people, is to work with this president on an agenda that unwinds a lot of the damage of the Biden-Harris-Schumer agenda and puts in place new policies that will move our country forward in a different direction.
There you go. Now, over on the House of Representatives, they're having organizational meetings as well. And here from the Hill, House Republicans on Wednesday nominated Mike Johnson to be the Speaker to retain the gavel in the upcoming 119th Congress, according to three sources in the room as the conference prepares to govern in the GOP trifecta next year. Johnson, who was running unopposed for the gavel, won the speakership nomination on a unanimous voice vote with no one vocalizing opposition because Matt Gaetz wasn't there. Just saying. No, man. And no other lawmaker threw their hats in the ring or were nominated for the post. The voice vote is a blow to conservatives who had been planning to push for a recorded vote as a form of protest on various measures. The Louisiana Republican will take his nomination to the House floor on January 3rd, where he will need to get support from the majority of the chamber to retain his leadership post, a much higher bar than in the GOP's razor-thin majority. Johnson has sought to keep his grasp on the gavel after winning the top job in a whirlwind process last year following the ouster of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Shortly before Wednesday's vote, he secured support from President-elect Trump, a boon for his candidacy, and a path to the gavel going forward. During a meeting with House Republicans Wednesday morning, Trump called Johnson a good guy and said, "I'm with him all the way," a source in the room has told The Hill. So there you go. It looks like Thune in the Senate, Mike Johnson in the House, and Donald Trump in the White House, and boy, let the good times roll. It's going to be fun to watch. Oh, man, is this going to be fun to watch. Hagerty, Bill Hagerty, senator from Tennessee, often mentioned as someone that might serve in a cabinet position. I think he was really interested in Secretary of State. That's gone to Rubio. And so he was talking a few moments ago to Neil Cavuto over on Fox. First of all, Cavuto asked him about the nomination of Matt Gaetz and how that might go.
You know, it is quite cynical when they talk about this, when you take a look at Merrick Garland, because that's all he has done is serve the political aims and goals of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Again, they've completely corrupted the DOJ. We need to fix that now, and it's President Trump's prerogative to choose who he wants to nominate, and I think that's what you see right here. He's got somebody that, again, has been very outspoken about reforming the DOJ.
And he is free to pick whomever he wants, to your point. You know, Senator, you were being considered, and might still be, sir, for a variety of positions. The State Department was one. That has gone to your colleague Marco Rubio, it would seem, for the time being. Pete Hegseth, for now, is the choice for the President-elect defense. That had come up. Your name had come up for that. Is it fair to say maybe you are running out of potential cabinet positions? And does that bother you if that's true?
Look, Neil, I haven't been involved in the speculation at all.
I know.
Deeply, deeply honored to serve the people of Tennessee. It's been my great honor to do that here in the United States Senate. It was my great honor to serve in President Trump's administration, and I think I did so admirably. But I've also been able to have a wonderful business career. I am just fine with whatever the outcome may be of decisions that happen in Mar-a-Lago, because my goal is to make certain that we heed the mandate that was voted on last week. The American public need to see significant change. We're going to work on that here in the Senate. I'll work on that from any posture that I need to adopt to make certain that that happens.
I mean, make no doubt about it. You got in Hagerty a guy who's definitely in the Trump orbit. He definitely is known by the president, served as his ambassador to Japan. But has maintained a relationship with the president. I mean, we would have him on the show, and he said, well, I just got off the phone with the president. He talked to him regularly, former President Trump, now President-elect Trump. So, I mean, they have a relationship. It's been a warm relationship, and I just think it'll be interesting. Maybe Treasury. I don't know. It'll be interesting. There's other people who might be considered there. Look, I mean, I've gone through the list here in the last hour or so of all the positions that have been filled. There's at least a dozen more to be filled. You know, major positions within the government. Commerce Secretary, there's an interesting thought. There's a lot of ways to go. But one way or the other, will he be in that final mix? I would say more likely than not, he will be. And the question will be, is it something that he finds interesting and attractive, or will he just stay in the United States Senate? My feeling about Hagerty is that, I may be ascribing to him, I may be putting words in his mouth. I don't think so. I'm just giving you my sense of the man. He's been always a good guest when we have him on, but you always sort of walk away. I don't know, see if you think you agree with this, Chris. You always sort of walk away with the sense that he is absolutely disgusted with the way things work in the United States Senate.
I do agree with that.
And that the wheels moves too slowly for him, and it's very irritating to him. Of course, he hasn't served, and I think I'm correct in saying, I don't think he served when Republicans were in the majority. And as you know what they say, that the difference between being in the majority and being in the minority is like the difference between chicken salad and chicken poop. I mean, I'm cleaning that up a little bit, but I mean, that's true. When you're in the majority, you can actually drive policy. So I don't know, maybe he'll be happy to settle in and actually accomplish things. He serves on the Foreign Relations Committee. And he's I think, a really great guy, and I like him. I think he's very fed up with what it is to work in Congress. I don't think it's what everything he thought it was going to be. And so it'll be interesting to see if there's a place for him in Trump world. And again, those conversations are ongoing. He won't really say much more about it, but it'll be interesting to see where he lands in the next few days. I think he probably will find he'll be offered something. It's just whether or not it's something he wants, I think, is the question. 21 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. You know, Eurofix has a very different business model. They staff all of the locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop. Now, why? So they can be ready when your emergency pops up out of nowhere. Have you ever noticed how hard it could be to get a right now appointment for vehicle repair? Some dealers, it could be more than 2 weeks just to get the appointment. But not at Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without dealer pricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year nationwide warranty and the staff to fix your car now. If you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes says, we will never be too busy for our customers. We will be here to take away their pain and take it away now. Eurofix repairs all European cars. Eurofix says yes to speedy repairs when others can't or won't. Family owned for 24 years. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Trump transition and more of the day's closing money news coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I mean, what a day it has been. I hate to keep repeating stuff, but since a lot of people get into the car this time of day, I don't want you to miss the breaking news of the day. Some announcements today. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, the person who sits at the very top of the intelligence heap. You have a CIA director, that would be John Ratcliffe, that's the nominee. Tulsi Gabbard would be above him and would actually be all of the basic DOD, intelligence, CIA, national security, the National Reconnaissance Office, which is the satellites. They all feed intelligence, through one point, and that would be the Director of National Intelligence. That change was made after 9/11, so that there was somebody who could see it all, and that the information would not be stovepiped. Then that person is one of the people who works with the National Security Advisor to bring information to the president as is needed. And so, really, the two people who are most in the know about the secrets of this country would be Tulsi Gabbard and President Trump. They would be the ultimate, intelligence customers, I guess you would say. So that's interesting. Marco Rubio for State Department. And again, what I can tell you already from watching some of the reactions is going to be a controversial nomination, Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. Matt Gaetz has there are people who are passionately for Matt Gaetz, and there are people on the Hill who just adamantly hate the guy for all the trouble that he put him through with the speaker when he went after, Kevin McCarthy. And then, we couldn't figure out who our speaker was for weeks on end, until we ended up with Mike Johnson. That was, all caused largely by Matt Gaetz. And so there are people who have bad feelings about it. He's got a pending matter before the House Ethics Committee that has not yet been resolved, and I would like to know what's going to happen there. But he's going to be a controversial choice. And remember, Constitution requires that the Senate provide its advice and consent. And I'm not sure that he can get out, even though Republicans control the body with 53 votes. I'm not sure he can be confirmed. I really have some doubts about it, because I think there are people who will say, nope, I can't do that. But we'll see. Again, we're watching that. Those are the big developments today. Mike Johnson will be the speaker again. By the way, on the House of Representatives, I neglected to tell you, a lot of organizations have called it and projected that the House is controlled by Republicans. There is one organization that has not, and that's the Associated Press, and they have it at 217. You need 218 to win. And so it's very close in the Associated Press. Some other organizations just have a policy of following whatever the AP does. So Fox News, for one, has decided that they'll go with the AP number, and they have it at 217. But a whole bunch of other news organizations have already gone ahead and called it and said that the Republicans will control the House. You can, I think, go to the bank. Republicans are going to control the House. I don't know why the AP is being so stodgy about it, but they are. And so there's that. So Mike Johnson has won the nomination of his party, which he will then take it to the floor of the House in the new session, and he'll have to get a majority vote, which right now it's probably going to be somewhere around 220 Republican votes. He's got to get at least 218. I think he'll get it. I think that's Trump giving his pat on the back is a big deal. That causes a lot of problems to go away. And then over in the Senate, it's John Thune as your new majority leader of the Senate, replacing Mitch McConnell. It's going to be. It's like I'm really going to be sad when I can no longer do my Mitch McConnell impression.
You're doing a fine job.
You're doing a fine job. Thank you very much. I'm Mitch McConnell. It is now time for news from Ken Weaver at 4:30.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And election 2024. Republicans are going to control both the House and the Senate. We see reports that Mike Johnson has the support of members to remain Speaker of the House, and John Thune was selected as Majority Leader, replacing Mitch McConnell in the Senate. President-elect Trump confirming more appointments and nominations to his cabinet today, including Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to be the next Director of National Intelligence, and Florida Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Trump is back in Florida after his meeting this morning with President Biden in the Oval Office of the White House, where it was described as very cordial, and Biden emphasizing he will do all that is necessary for a smooth transition.
Thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Stocks with a mixed showing today. The Dow ending up 47 points, the S&P nearly 2 points, and the Nasdaq down 50. The tech-heavy Nasdaq took a slight loss. This comes as the latest consumer index report shows a slight rise in inflation in the month of October, up 2.6% from 2.4% in September. A bright spot for American drivers. Gas prices have fallen more than 12% from this year. Grubhub has a new owner after European food delivery giant JustEatTakeaway.com sold the platform to New York-based Wonder Grub for $650 million. JustEatTakeaway.com acquired Grubhub back in 2021 for more than $7 billion. GM issued a recall for around 462,000 pickup trucks, including models of the Silverado and Sierra, because the rear wheels can lock up, increasing the risk of a crash. The company reported more than 1,800 instances of wheel lockup that could be related to the issue.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we are seeing very heavy traffic to get out of the downtown area, especially if you're northbound 65 there to 440, then 440 eastbound, 65 to the South Loop downtown, then east over to 24. 24 eastbound, brake tapping all the way down to Bell Road. Now we're seeing a multi-vehicle crash, 24 eastbound right there at the 40 split. Got a disabled vehicle westbound at 24, not far from where that crash is. And then another disabled vehicle, 24 westbound, right after Briley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 38 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7, and well, I don't know. The clock is ticking, and we have not heard from Pete Hegseth.
Please stand by. Pete, please call.
That's right. We didn't know for sure, because he doesn't really talk to us a lot in between his hits at 4:35 on Wednesdays. And so I sent him a text last night saying, hey, we're just really happy for you. I assume you'll see you tomorrow at 4:35. And I was about half kidding.
Yeah.
But then he didn't respond to me. And so, I'm sort of hoping that, that he might. But here's what happens. I mean, I get this. Here you are, you're Pete Hegseth. First of all, you've got a lot going on. It's always been I really appreciate it. He's a busy guy. I know what it is to be in his position. And, your days are really filled up. And he always was very good to just call. And then we would only hear from him if he knew, for example, that he was going to have a conflict in his schedule. And so, obviously, he would call if he's on a plane. I'm going to be on a plane. I'm sorry, Brian. Hey, I got a soccer game with my kids or something like that. And he would tell us, and I said, okay, fine, that's great. We'll catch you next time. And he was always good. We never really had a lot of conversation in between. He would just call, and it was great. And then so yesterday, about I guess it's about in the 5 o'clock hour, we found out that he's been nominated to be the Secretary of Defense. Now, when something like that happens, I'm pretty sure I know how it goes. Your phone completely blows up. Everybody in your entire contact list, and I'm sure his contact list is thousands of people. I was calling to wish you well, and you get buried in a bunch of texts. He didn't even see, I'm sure. He can't even respond to all of them. I mean, I got a little sense of that the other day when I announced my retirement. There were so many comments that I really couldn't get to them all. So, I mean, this is something really huge, and so I'm sure that he's just overwhelmed. But I held out a little hope.
Yeah.
That, but it's now 40 minutes. I think we got to move on.
I think it's safe to say, he will not be calling in.
Yeah. All right. Well, we still wish him well, and maybe we'll get him before I get out of here on the 24th of December.
That'd be nice.
I'd love to have him on and just to find out. I wonder what it's like to go through that process. To be negotiating with the incoming president of the United States for a position in his cabinet, and to have those conversations. Maybe he didn't negotiate. Maybe he was just contacted. One way or the other, it's a brilliant choice, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does. I guarantee you one thing that's going to go away: the wokeness over at the Department of Defense will be going away because Yes, it is. Sadly. Da, 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 da. Well, clearly, I'll hold it. They're not done yet. I thought they were done. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Well, I think one of the things he's going to be doing is trying to get the DEI. It's all in his book. He thinks that one of the things that has gone wrong at the Department of Defense is this diversity, equity, and inclusion thing that the Biden administration has embraced. Instead of focusing on the mission of protecting the nation, we've been more concerned about DEI policies and making sure that we use the proper pronouns. And I have a feeling that nonsense is going to come to a halt. And in fact, President Trump has said all these DEI generals, they're going to be gone. Gone. I think there's going to be a wholesale rattling of the cage over at the Department of Defense and other places as well. And so, one of the things I will say is that of late, DEI policy has been on the wane, not on the rise. And no doubt about it, on the wane. I mean, and Robbie Starbucks over there has been trying to do a lot of work, and he's done a lot of good work. Major corporations like the Tractor Supply and the Ford Motor Company, Lowe's, the list goes on and on and on of companies that he has forced to back away from their DEI policies. And many companies, rather than have to deal with him and have to, do with the uncomfortable, because we all know that they don't want to lose market share like the Bud Light people did, or like Target did. You don't want to lose that simply because you're perceived as DEI and woke, all these woke policies that you have, and people are going to say, well, if you're woke, I'm just not going to do business with you. Nobody wants that, and so it is definitely on the wane. And one thing that I am certain of is it will be rooted out of government in a Trump administration. Here's a story from the National Pulse. The State Department is being accused of engaging in gender discrimination against men in its promotion process for foreign service positions. Study by the Heritage Foundation indicates that in 2023, women were promoted at higher rates than men across all 5 foreign service officer career tracks, despite men being more numerous in the workforce. The career tracks include consular affairs, economic affairs, political affairs, public diplomacy, and management. Concerningly, the report suggests that the promotional challenges for men are not a new development at the State Department. The data suggest similar disparities in promotion rates throughout the Biden-Harris government from 2020 to 2022. This according to the National Pulse. Why Boeing killed DEI? From thecityjournal.org. An insider reveals the famed aviation company's apparent change of heart. A reckoning is underway in corporate America. After the death of George Floyd in 2020, it seemed that every Fortune 500 company had launched a diversity, equity, and inclusion program. But now, 4 years later, many companies are quietly acknowledging the failure of these initiatives and in some cases winding them down. Earlier this year, DEI troubles at Boeing, which an insider described this way. DEI is the drop you put in the bucket and the whole bucket changes. It is anti-excellence because it's ill-defined, but it became a part of the culture. That is changing. Earlier this month, Boeing's newly hatched and newly installed CEO, Kelly Ortberg, quietly dismantled the DEI department and accepted the resignation of the office's vice president. To understand how this happened, we reached out to some insiders in the following interview, and here we go. Christopher Rufo, tell us what happened with DEI. It went from dominant to extinct in a very short period of time. The insider said, we are shifting from a company whose culture is simply the average of corporate America to a distinct and deliberate vision of leadership. Kelly Ortberg wants Boeing focused on being an airplane company with our own culture and vision. The resulting cash crunch from the strike accelerated this culture shift. When you start to focus on delivering value instead of preserving status, it becomes obvious what drives value, and it's not DEI. The question, this is happening shortly after the arrival of Ortberg. Was this decision made at the top, and if so, why did he make it? Our CEO has always been fighting for efficiency, but the strike and associated cash crunch brought into focus what really drives production. Kelly is looking at every business and every process with fresh eyes. Does this help us build airplanes is the question they ask. HR organizations like to make the argument that you need the right mix of skin color and gender preference to perform and innovate, but everyone who has had to build things knows that what really drives value is integrity, hard work, and technical expertise. That doesn't mean that bias doesn't exist and that we don't need to fight it, but Kelly, the CEO, gets that the best culture directly promotes values and results, not identity groups. Corporate America has figured this out. It was an experiment that went wholly awry. I think when you're going to find out that, that at the Secret Service, part of the problem was excellence was no longer the driving force. We instead of making decisions based on who was best qualified to take a certain role, they had a quota. well, we got to have so many women and so many people of color, and we're going to be doing that, and that we need to change the face of the Secret Service. And in the process of doing that, we ended up with a Secret Service that wasn't able to do its job. I think you're going to find that at the Defense Department. I think you're going to find that at the State Department. I think you're going to find that across the board in government, and it will be rooted out. Here's an example of the crazy that goes on over at the State Department. You ready? You're going to love this. Managing stress during the change, the Biden-Harris State Department held therapy sessions after the Trump win. From the Free Beacon, the Biden-Harris State Department organized an in-house therapy session for employees early Friday following Donald Trump's election victory. 4 sources with knowledge of the meeting told the Washington Free Beacon. Managing stress during change, read in internal State Department emails sent across the agency that encouraged employees to attend 1-hour sessions in which they could discuss their feelings about Tuesday's election results. The department's employee consultation services in the Bureau of Medical Services hosted the session, according to a copy of the email notice seen by the Free Beacon. Change is a constant in our life. Excuse me. See if I can. Change is a constant in our lives, but it can also bring out stress and uncertainty. Join us for an insightful webinar where we delve into effective stress management techniques to help you navigate these challenging times. The session will provide tips and practical strategies for managing stress and for maintaining your well-being. The session was led by a licensed clinical provider, and there's a second one scheduled for today. Today, they're still struggling over at the State Department.
They're practicing their deep breaths.
I wonder if they're going to be giving back rubs.
No, you can't do that.
No, can't do that. That's definitely not allowed.
I'd have taken part in that.
No, can't do that. But we can practice our deep cleansing. Okay, all you state-employed diplomats, out with the bad breath and in with the good. Take a deep breath. Hold it. And slowly release. Okay.
Amazing. Meanwhile, we've got Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin out there.
Yeah, I wonder if they're worried about the DEI in their state departments, right?
Good grief.
But some are getting the idea. Here is a point of that. Stop pandering to the far left. A Democrat lawmaker calls out the party over the transgender issue. Democrats continue to share their opinions on critical issues the radicals in the party silenced all criticism of. Recently elected Congressman Tim Suozzi, a New York D3, has warned the Democrat Party against pandering to the far left. He was discussing the party's approach to transgender women participation in girls' sports. Most Americans oppose biological boys participating in girls' sports. The Democrats have to stop pandering to the far left. I don't want to discriminate against anybody, but I don't think that biological boys should be playing in girls' sports. You know, the one commercial that Trump ran that had more impact than any other, according to the experts, was the one about men playing in girls' sports. I told you that was the issue. That was the wedge issue that'll bring all the moms back. Because no soccer mom wants to see that. And they think that is a position that is far outside mainstream thought in America. 52 minutes past the hour. You know, we have big news from DT McCall's. If you've been thinking about buying a gun safe but putting it off, just do it now. Gun safes are sales tax free. That's right, sales tax free. It's hunting season, so be sure you're keeping your guns safe when they're not in the tree stand with a Liberty gun safe from DT McCall's. Now, you may not know it, but DT McCall's is the largest Liberty safe dealer in all of Tennessee. Why? Well, their policy on delivery and setup. Some charge $500 for the delivery of the big models, $300 for the smaller models. DT McCall & Sons delivers every safe free, every time, period, no setup charge. Security is important these days, and a Liberty gun safe from DT McCall's can be used for valuables, cash, jewelry, important documents, wills, deeds, car titles, whatever you need to keep safe from theft or fire. So save some big bucks now on your Liberty gun safe when you shop at your local DT McCall's. Just go to dtmccalls.com for location and information.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes on election 2024. Republicans will control both the House and Senate, and we see reports that Mike Johnson has the support of members to remain Speaker of the House. John Thune selected as Majority Leader, replacing Mitch McConnell in the Senate. Thune answered a question about the possibility that some of President-elect Trump's cabinet nominations could be approved by recess appointments, which would require no confirmation hearings.
Well, what we're going to do is make sure that we are processing his nominees in a way that gets them into those positions so they can implement his agenda. How that happens remains to be seen.
President-elect Trump confirming nominating Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard to be the next Director of National Intelligence, and Florida Senator Marco Rubio as Secretary of State.
It's a tremendous honor that the President would place his confidence in me in a position of such importance. It's also a tremendous responsibility, and the job of the Secretary of State is to execute on the foreign policy set by the elected President of the United States.
Sherry Preston tells what went down when President-elect Trump met with President Biden this morning at the Oval Office.
At the White House, a rare sit-down between President Biden and President-elect Trump. The current president welcomed the incoming president, both shaking hands and holding talks in the Oval Office. President Biden says there will be a smooth transition.
Thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
The White House says it appears the meeting lasted less than 2 hours, with Chief of Staff Jeff Zients and President-elect Trump's new Chief of Staff Susie Wiles also in attendance. The First Lady Jill Biden gave President-elect Trump a handwritten letter of congratulations for the former First Lady Melania Trump, who did not attend.
Here in Tennessee, Channel 4 says Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Roush is pitching a plan to test wastewater to determine where and what illegal drugs are being used.
All of us who are in this fight, this would be something that would potentially give us a better understanding prior to the overdose death.
TBI says they would test wastewater from houses and neighborhoods where there have been a lot of complaints about illegal drug use. And customers at a popular Murfreesboro bowling alley tell Channel 4 they can't believe a burglar cut a hole in the roof, then rappelled down to burglarize the place.
I just kind of grew up coming here. I've never heard nothing happen here, especially how long it's been here.
What was going through their mind to even say, hey, I'm going to cut a hole through a ceiling?
Yeah, the burglar got out of planes, trains, and automobiles through a side door with $1,500 from an ATM. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. We've got some problems on 65 this evening. Right now, 65 southbound before Wedgwood Avenue. Police say there is a crash there in the Belmont area. Then Berry Hill, 65 northbound at I-440, which is already heavy there without a crash. Brentwood, we got a crash. Left lane block, 65 southbound right after Concord Road. I'm seeing 24 westbound at Harding Place in Antioch, a crash. And then 40 eastbound, the on-ramp from 28th Avenue. A crash on-ramp partially blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 7 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7, hour number 3 of The Drive on this Wednesday, November 13th. Glad you're with us. It's been a very, very, very interesting day as we have been, we have big decisions being made in the nation's capital. The president from Mar-a-Lago continuing to issue his nominees for key positions within the new Trump administration, and some are downright eyebrow raising. First of all, what you got to understand is that there's this little thing called Article 2, Section 2 of the Constitution, which says that a president shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States whose appointment are not herewithin otherwise provided for. Now, what that has come to mean over time is that his cabinet positions must be confirmed by the Senate, and they have to provide their advice and consent. That is one of the things about the Senate that I love is that they do things differently than the House of Representatives. They should not be the same body. They have very different responsibilities in our bicameral system. So there is that. And so the president has been making nominations. And I tell you, I look at a lot of these names and I don't see anything being a problem going through. But Democrats will make noise. But can they stop it? No, not most of them. But if a few Republicans decide they have heartburn over some of the positions, and, in the Senate, there are those senators, the one that comes to mind is I'm trying to think of Alaska. What's her name? Good Lord.
Murkowski.
Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, others of that ilk have had problems. So here we go. Let's just get to who the president is nominated, and then we'll talk about who's going to have problems. This afternoon, the new names on the list are Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. He'll cruise through. Traditionally, members of the body have very easy confirmation hearings. It's all one big club, and even if, you don't agree with Marco Rubio on his policy, they're gonna approve him. He'll be approved. Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence. That's an interesting choice. I did not see that one coming. That wasn't on my bingo card. But will they raise some hell about her? Yeah, I think maybe. I don't know. We'll see how that one fares. I think probably a pretty good chance. And then the third one, which I think is going to be the most controversial of all the nominations that Donald Trump has made. Now, when I say that, I'm just telling you, this is the way it's going to land. It's going to land with a thud, and that's Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General. Now, you may love Matt Gaetz. I'm all for having somebody like Gaetz go in there and tear up the Justice Department. He could not be any worse than Merrick Garland, the single worst Attorney General in the history of Attorney Generals, or Attorneys General. That's the plural. So they couldn't be any worse than that. But he may have a hard time getting confirmed. I'm just telling you, that's my professional judgment, not making any judgment about Matt Gaetz. He has problems in the House. A lot of people, a lot of enemies in the House, a lot of friends, big supporters, and a lot of enemies. And there is a pending matter before the House Ethics Committee that will no doubt come up. So those are the big ones that are coming out today. Now let's just go through the list, all right? So Rubio, State, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, Matt Gaetz, Attorney General. Let's pick it up from there. The Chief of Staff, not a confirmable position, will be Susie Wiles. UN Ambassador, a confirmable position, that will be Elise Stefanik, if Trump has his way. EPA Advisor, that is confirmable, Lee Zeldin. National Security Advisor is Mike Waltz, member of the House, and that is not a confirmable position because he is an advisor to the president, not a member of the cabinet. CIA Director, that is a confirmable position. Nominee is John Ratcliffe, a Texas congressman. DOD, as we learned late yesterday, Pete Hegseth from Fox News a military veteran, a person with a good military record, and some very strong ideas about DEI, has been chosen as the next Secretary of Defense. Homeland Security, which needs to be gutted and rebuilt in a big way. Some people say it should be just torn down and start over. Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, that is confirmable. And then we have a border czar. That's Tom Homan, and that's Homan, and that is not a confirmable position. As a czar is somebody that advises the president. So like a national security advisor or an immigration advisor. These people are not confirmable positions, but they can do the bidding of the president and are given very wide portfolios. Then this is going to be fun to watch. I would hate to estimate the IQ of these two individuals. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will serve as co-directors of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. And look, again, this is, I think, going to be not a true department. They're not going to have a bureaucracy. They're going to be looking at each individual executive branch and trying to figure out where they can save money. I can give you a few that should just be eliminated. The Department of Education comes to mind, and that may well happen. There may not be a Secretary of Education because they may be planning to just try to dismantle it. And boy, would that be a good thing, I think. People say, well, how could we then handle all of the money that goes from Washington? That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. Why should Washington be decided what could be decided by local school boards about what's best in their community? School boards, state legislatures, they should decide about education in the state in which they are. It ought to be a state matter. It does not need federal hierarchy. And all that comes with the federal money is a bunch of strings. You know, in the state of Tennessee, we've walked away from federal money from the Department of Education. We don't take any. And that means, we have to come up with the money on our own. But at least when we come up with money on our own, there's no federal restrictions on how that money can be spent. So I love the idea of doing away with the Department of Education and just leaving the money in the states to deal with it. Give everybody a pile of money and say, handle it. I just think that'd be great. Okay, so there you have. But Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I mean, what is that? What a great thing that is. Elon is a guy who thinks outside the box. He's strictly result oriented, not afraid to take a risk to get gain, but a man who just doesn't look at the world the way the rest of us do. And I think we need somebody with that kind of out of the box thinking. The weakness for Elon, quite frankly, is he's not a great communicator. And Vivek Ramaswamy is. And so, I think Vivek has a passion for doing away with government waste, fraud, and abuse as well. So these two guys are going to come up with some interesting ideas. And what I love about it is, you got the brain power of Elon Musk, and then you have the communication abilities, which are just all over the moon with Vivek Ramaswamy. If you've ever been in a room with Vivek, you walk away really impressed. This guy knows how to express an idea. And communication, when you're trying to change things, you got to have an effective communicator. The two of those paired together is a stroke of genius. Absolute brilliance. I love that idea more than I can tell you. So that's where we are right now in our nomination process. We might have a few more today. They come in spates. Now, all kinds of spates. So there is that. Then the other thing going on today, in case you are just joining us, is that we have made some decisions about who's going to run the various branches of Congress. In the United States Senate, the majority leader will be John Thune, elected by Republicans today. There were three candidates running: John Thune, John Cornyn, and Rick Scott. A lot of MAGA people really wanted Rick Scott. He fell out in the first round of balloting. What they do is they take a vote. All three candidates, whoever has the lowest total, he falls out. Then it becomes a battle between the top two, and that was the two Johns, Cornyn and Thune won. I want to say, I looked at it earlier, 29 to 24 was, I think that's right. Yeah, that would be 53. That would be it. So that's how it all fell. And Thune held a press conference where he talked about the things that he hopes to accomplish in the days coming forward. Here's just a little sample of it. John Thune.
And this Republican team is united. We are on one team. We are excited to reclaim the majority and to get to work with our colleagues in the House to enact President Trump's agenda. We have a mandate from the American people. A mandate not only to clean up the mess left by the Biden-Harris-Schumer agenda, but also to deliver on President Trump's priorities.
So there you go. There's John Thune of South Dakota. I've got the other party, you want to, I don't know, anybody cares. John Barrasso of Wyoming will be the majority whip. Tom Cotton will be the Republican conference chair. Shelley Capito will be the policy chair. Tim Scott will be in charge of the NRCC. That's the effort to get senators reelected in the next cycle. And then James Lankford of Oklahoma will become the conference vice chair. So there is that. In the House of Representatives, it looks like it's going to be Mike Johnson. That vote will be taken when the new Congress is settled, but he at least has the Republican nominee and no opponents. This was made better today. I mean, his chances were improved today when Donald Trump came and met with House members. He came up from Florida, was here in town, and basically said, he's my guy. I want you to support him, and that was the end of that. So Mike Johnson has the votes to become the speaker again, but that won't happen for a while. That assumes that, and yes, the Republicans are going to control the House. Biden and Trump met today over at the Oval Office, and there was a very short little photo opportunity in the Oval Office.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President, thank you, Donald. Congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. It's good. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome.
So everybody on their best behavior, except the press corps. Yeah, they never behave, those guys. And very quickly, I love this soundbite from Karine Jean-Pierre. Listen, in the briefing today after Trump left.
But a lot was said on the campaign trail, like Trump is a dangerous threat to our country and our democracy. Was there an apology today?
I'm sorry?
Like it's not something she could even consider.
An apology from
President
Biden for the words, some of the words used.
An apology from the President Biden
to President-elect Trump for some of the words that was used on the campaign trail.
She's messing with the guy.
And I've answered this a couple of times about a threat to democracy in the past week. The president is going to always feel obligated to be honest with the American people.
No apology coming from Karine Jean-Pierre. 21 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. I wish it were true, but if you have pain in your back, what that is pressure on your nerves. And no matter how hard you try or wish that it were true, there are no pills or spinal creams that can magically solve that problem. If you have pressure on your nerves, you really likely have only two choices: surgery or non-invasive spinal decompression. Now, I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Their state-of-the-art facilities and high-tech equipment offer the latest non-surgical procedures. And because getting better is important to Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, they are offering half off spinal decompression treatments and half off the KT knee machine. If you are a new patient, here's what you get: an exam, a consultation, an x-ray if you need one. They'll lay out your treatment plan, and you will receive your first treatment all in one day, all in one visit, and it will only cost you $23. After that, remember, the ongoing spinal decompression treatments are half off. I'm Brian Wilson, and I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville, so call them today at 615-246-5009. Learn more at painisbad.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Trump transition, busy day. We'll tell you about it at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 26 past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. A couple of little things that I wanted to play for you here. Here is, where is it? I got James Carville, the Raging Cajun, talking about what Democrats did wrong. And he's got it exactly right. He said maybe they, instead of, all of the things that they proposed, they should have looked for things that were popular to try to sell to the American people.
There were things we could have run on harder that have effect. The minimum wage. it passes everywhere by 70%. I mean, I know that President Biden was for it and Harris was for it, but we need to put it front and center. What about taxing the incomes over $400,000? You know, there are a lot of things that are just popular that Democrats are for, and they're popular with every kind of Democrat in the country. They also happen to be popular with independents and even some Republicans. And we should run on a popular thing. A popular thing was not continuing the Biden administration. That was clearly not what people wanted. I think he's a great guy, but people didn't want more of that, and that's what we gave him.
You know, he just speaks in common language and with common sense. And, you know, I think the Dems would do well to listen to him. But one way or the other, still a lot of navel gazing going on among Democrats. You know, there's nothing interesting to be found in the navel. Just, you know, usually some lint and some suspect-looking material. I don't know what that stuff is. What is that? I know. So, you know, navel gazing really amounts to nothing. But, you know, they need to stop. Look, well, who am I to help them? I don't want to help them. But, I mean, I think there is going to be an accounting among Democrats for what they did wrong. And, you know, everybody's pointing fingers. I just think it was not a particularly good campaign. And the strategy of waiting very late to make Kamala the nominee without any primary process, I think, did not sit well with a lot of people. Tom Homan is going to be in charge of border, getting the people who are in this country illegally out. It would be the border czar. And he's itching to go to work. And the ladies at The View are losing their ever-loving minds. I mean, they say the most outrageous things that simply are just hysterical. And I got to be careful with that word because it's a loaded word. But it is that sometimes they are just absolutely hysterical, nonsensical in the things that they say. Here's an example.
When you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. Yep. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues.
The View, it's like the island of misfit toys. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. President Trump has made it clear. We will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats first. And that's what the focus will be. And there's over 1.5 convicted criminal aliens in this country with final orders removal that we're going to be looking for. There's thousands of gang members, illegal alien gang members we're going to be looking for. Now, I'm going to say, if you're in the country illegally, you shouldn't feel comfortable. Absolutely not. I won't feel comfortable if I'm in the country illegally. If I'm in some other country illegally, I'm not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable either, because when you enter this country illegally, you have committed a crime. You are a criminal, and you're not off the table.
Man, I want this guy to get busy. I can't wait for January 20th and for him to start work and get this thing straightened out. There's some people out there who could be real agents for change in the lineup that Donald Trump has been put forward in the last couple of days. Real interesting people. We'll see how it all starts to shake out in the days ahead. It is now 30 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. Three Amigos straight ahead. And time for the news.
.5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And President-elect Trump announcing key cabinet nominations today for his new administration.
President-elect Trump Wednesday naming his choices for several key seats in his new administration. For Secretary of State, Trump tapping his one-time presidential primary opponent, Republican Senator Marco Rubio. Trump's pick for Attorney General, Republican Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Former Democratic Congresswoman turned Trump supporter Tulsi Gabbard has been chosen for Director of National Intelligence. And for Secretary of Defense, Trump nominating Fox News host Pete Hegseth. Both Gabbard and Hegseth are military veterans.
Yeah, Dave Packer reporting. Republicans going to control both chambers of Congress, with Mike Johnson getting support to stay on as Speaker of the House. John Thune elected the new Senate Majority Leader. Here in Middle Tennessee, 2 employees are on administrative leave, and at least 3 agencies are investigating after a Montgomery County middle schooler suffered 2 strokes and required emergency brain surgery after an incident on a bus. Channel 4's Steve Mailing reports on who might be held responsible.
Jamie Horton's days are being spent here at Monroe Carroll Children's Hospital in Nashville. Instead of her son being in a school classroom, he's recovering from a massive stroke that has now turned their lives upside down. 12-year-old Hayden Horton was riding the bus that Friday before fall break in October. At some point on the bus ride home, Jamie says her son was put in a headlock by a high school student. She says based on video seen by investigators, that lasted for 14 seconds. 1 week later, Hayden was rushed to Vanderbilt, where he was found to have suffered multiple strokes resulting from a vascular tear in his neck.
Jamie Horton says she was especially concerned when she was told adults on the bus didn't step in to help her son. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now, north and southbound 65 between downtown and Brentwood is extremely backed up both directions. We've got a multi-vehicle crash now reported. This is 65 southbound right there before 252. And then checking over here on Briley Parkway east of downtown, State Route 155. This is going to be Briley Parkway southbound. Several vehicles piled up there at mile marker 9. And that is going to start causing quite a few problems. We've got the brake tap in eastbound 24 from downtown all the way down to, it's almost to Murfreesboro. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Let me tell you about the folks over at Stoltzco. You know, if you're looking to make a pole barn or build a pole barn, they're the folks you need to talk to. The two brothers that run Stoltzco are guys who can build you a great building. And let me ask you a question. They have a question as well. Do you have a piece of land that you're not using? You know, a piece of land maybe that's, you know, you've invested in, but you just really haven't developed it in any way. Why don't you develop that land? Why don't you put something on it? Why don't you put a pole barn on it? And to sort of increase your investment, the value of your investment. Maybe you could, you know, a pole barn that's a barn dominium. That's a barn that you live in. And you know what? There are some great designs, and they're very cool, very desirable, very hot right now. Maybe you want a pole barn that you can use as a garage or a regular work barn. But then maybe you want to do something that's an equestrian space. That's right. You know, so if you have horses, you're into that, do that. Then the other thing that you might want to consider, I think it's a great idea, is building an event space so you can rent it out. That would be super, wouldn't it? Get some value out of that land that you have. One way or the other, I want you to do me a favor. Go to their website, stoltzco.com, STOLTZCO.com. Take a look at the things they've done for others, and I know what's going to happen. You're going to take a look at it and say, give me some of that. And then you follow up with a phone call to the Stoltzco folks, 615-622-5992. Listen, that's stoltzco.com, stoltzco.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Well, that music right there means that it's time for the Three Amigos, and it's always fascinating to watch if you're watching on Super Talk TV, because Ken Weaver likes to dance around the newsroom.
Yeah.
But the good news, he's got all his clothes on, so there you go.
This time, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
As he's Amigo number 1, Chris Webber in the control room pushing all the blinky buttons is Amigo number 2.
If only he were kidding.
Yeah.
But he's not.
And I am Amigo number 3, and the idea is we bring something to the table, and I've dominated for the last 2 days. And so, or I guess the last couple of times we've done it. So I'm going to let you guys go first today, but I've got a good one.
All right.
All right.
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Brother Chris.
All right. This one is kind of one of those type stories.
You seem drawn to the ones that are sort of gross.
They just come to me. I don't know. I don't go out looking for them. I just stumble upon them. This one comes from New Delhi, India. A 23-year-old man visited his doctors after he was experiencing some stomach pain and bloating over the previous few days.
Well, this is off to a good start.
Yeah. It gets better. So routine,
or worse.
Yeah, well, depending on how you look at it. Routine tests were carried out, and medics soon discovered a 1-inch cockroach in his small intestine.
Oh.
And incredibly, it was still alive.
Oh, my gosh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. So, according to Dr. Shubham Vatsya, a senior consultant in gastroenterology, he said the patient had no idea how he consumed the bug or how it was still alive. He says even we were surprised as to how the cockroach managed to stay intact, but he said that it could have been life-threatening, causing, for example, a dangerous infection. So we immediately proceeded to extract the insect, he said. They used an endoscopy procedure involving a little tool that sucked up the cockroach. He said we activated the suction button on the scope to effectively suck the cockroach into the channel, leading to its removal from the body and possibly saving the man's life. You okay, Brian? You need a seltzer or something?
I'd give you some water. That's just, I'm getting, that's it.
But, you say, well, this is India.
Goodness.
They're not the most, sanitary nation, or at least known to be. Not to disparage anyone that's from India, but this would never happen in the United States. Well, not so fast, my friend.
Oh, really?
Just last year, doctors in the United States found a fly inside a man's intestines during a colonoscopy.
Goodness.
And the fly was still alive.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a 63-year-old just gone in for a routine colon cancer screening in Missouri when the insect was discovered, and neither the man nor the doctors had any idea how it got there. It was this was actually published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology, which said, quote, "It is a mystery on how the intact fly found its way to the transverse colon."
One of the nurses overheard saying, "Show me."
I think it probably happens at night.
Yeah.
Sleeping.
Snoring, mouth open.
Mouth open. Crawls right on in there.
Yeah, man, that's scary stuff right there.
It seems like that would wake you up, though. If you felt something crawling down your throat, no less.
That's disgusting.
It's like you hear stories about people, they can't figure out why they can't hear well out of one ear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you find that they have some bug in their ear.
Yeah, like a spider.
Yep.
A spider makes a little home in your ear. Goodness.
I get that feeling sometimes. I will just be sitting doing whatever, and all of a sudden I will get a huge case of the willies that emanates from one of my ears, and I have to, like something's going on in my ear. It's probably just like water or something left over from a shower, but I think about those things and think, what if there's something?
Well, it's very clear these stories, very, very interestingly, always seem to come your way. You see, Google knows about you.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
So they're sending you stories that fit into a certain.
They are.
Yeah, that's
this guy's a sicko. Let's send him this story.
Yeah, he'll love this one. All right, Ken, what you got?
All right, this is coming from the New York Post. Weird stories. Sneaking food into movie theaters just got a lot easier, if a tad more obvious. M&M's has revealed its latest product, the limited edition M&M's Snack Jacket. Now, you can't eat the jacket.
I got to look this up.
But it makes it irresistible not to bring food anywhere you go. It is vibrant red. It's stocked with milk chocolate-covered candies, napkins, a seat finder flashlight, and a complimentary annual movie pass, all for the price of just $11.75. It's a big red puffer coat. And it's
you'll look like the red M&M if you wear this. Yeah,
you will look like the red M&M. But what I like about it, it actually has a napkin dispensing sleeve. So if you get messy,
but hold it, it's not supposed to get on your hands.
No, it's not.
Melts in your mouth, not in your hands.
Well,
that's what they always say.
Come
on.
For that buttered popcorn, I'm sure.
Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, I guess.
That's it. Yeah. So a hands-free popcorn belt. And an interior snacktical pocket or interior snacktical pockets and just easy places, to sneak snacks into the movie theater.
I remember one time we went to a late showing when I was in Amarillo years ago. This was the first time, I'm generally a rule follower. You may find that hard to believe, but generally I follow the rules. I never thought... it never occurred to me that you'd want to sneak a beer into a movie theater. And so I went out with a bunch of TV people. We were going to a late showing of a movie, one of those things where they would do media showings, thinking that would generate a little buzz about the movie. So we all went out to this, and the sports guys were sticking Coors in their socks.
In their
socks. And then, he sat down and crossed his legs and reached down. There he had it, a nice cold Coors that had been in his socks as he entered the. They never check your socks.
Well, they wearing sweatpants?
Yeah, they've been loose pants, probably jeans, as I recall. Yeah. And so he had big athletic socks, and he stuck a Coors beer in the sock.
I've done it with not in the movies, but it was a concert. I've done it with the little airplane bottles of liquor and stuff, and down in the boot. Just stick. I mean, you could stick 4 or 5 of them, down in each boot.
Yeah.
And then you just go to the concession stand, buy you a soda, and then you got you a mixer.
This big old M&M's jacket, I could sneak me in a bucket of KFC.
Yeah, listen, there's something to be said about M&M's. Now that's what I'm going to think about between now and the end of the show.
I looked this up. I went to the M&M's website to find it, and it's weird because maybe it says this item is out of stock, but that it says it's not available until the 15th. So maybe they're saying that on the 15th it will be in stock.
Yeah.
But I mean, $11.75, that's cheap.
That's not bad, man.
No,
I might see if I can snag one of those just as a fun.
Just for fun. All right.
Got a little napkin dispensing sleeve.
Yeah.
It's
red so you can wear it to your next holiday party.
Yeah.
By the way, I just on that, I got the coolest jacket.
Oh yeah,
for the Christmas party this year.
Oh yeah.
Well, wait till you see it. It's like it's all that in a bag of chips, man. It's awesome.
Is it red and got white fur on the cuffs?
No, it's big red and green Christmas plaid.
Wow.
It's good looking. It's so rare for me to go into a store and just like pull something off the rack. That never happens. And this, I said, oh, what are the chances? And I pulled it off and I said, it fits. It's perfect. I'll take it. Nice. I didn't even ask how much it was. I thought, so rare for me to be able to get some. It really wasn't all that expensive, but it's very cool.
I was getting ready to say,
nice.
you're a rather large fella.
Yeah, well, not
tall,
as large as I used to be.
But I mean, you're tall. It's interesting that you were just able to grab that and it fit just like that.
Yeah, it was a 50 extra long.
Wow.
That's what I wear. So and I went, wow, what are the chances you're going to find something that really is sort of, a limited run edition of something that's not everybody's going to want one.
Yep.
To find something in my size. When I go to a store, I don't ask people, hey, can I get that in my size? I ask, what have you got in my size? That's the way that always is. Yeah. So, it was one of these things. Cabana wife was with me. Instantly insisted that I have that jacket.
Well, there you go.
It has the Cabana wife stamp of approval.
That's it.
So when I wear it to the first Christmas party, which I think will be our station Christmas party, I will get a picture.
You gonna put that panther head on too?
No, I'm not gonna do that anymore. That panther head has been returned to its rightful owner. All right, here's my story. It has to do with PBJ. Who doesn't love a good PBJ? Ooh. Peanut butter and jelly.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I actually, somebody showed me one time, there's a lot of variations on the theme. Peanut butter and banana, peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and honey. Mm-hmm. Here's one, peanut butter, butter and jelly, That's a good one. That's pretty good.
Never thought about that.
Oh yeah. Well, then you know there's the commercial version of that, which is the Uncrustable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I have you ever had an Uncrustable?
I haven't.
You know, I don't think I have either, but apparently they're pretty good. And basically it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that has no crust. It's circular. It's all crimped. Looks like a little pie.
Little
and
UFO looking thing.
You put them in the freezer, and when you want them, you know, you take them out, put them in your lunch bag, and then you take it to work. And by the time you get ready to eat it, it's defrosted, and apparently they're really good. Well, the NFL, you know, those players have to eat like thousands of calories a day because they're burning up a lot of energy when they're in the regular season. Do you know how many Uncrustables? Because it's a good way to just get calories.
Yeah.
You know, it's peanut butter's high in calories and got a little protein in it. You got your jelly, you got your bread, and they go down quick and they're easy to. So a lot of people just like the NFL just puts them out on the table, and you come in from your workout, you pop a couple of Crustables. Uncrustables.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah.
Makes sense though.
So, based on information collected by the by one team, NFL teams go through anywhere from 3,600 to 4,300 Uncrustables a week.
A week?
When you factor in training camps and the teams that did not share their data, so they made an estimate, NFL teams easily go through at least 80,000 Uncrustables a year.
That's a good business for Smuckers or whoever it is that makes them, yeah.
Denver at the top of the list, 700 a week. Let's see if I can find here what Tennessee, 100 a week. 24 of the 32 NFL teams provided the Athletic with approximate ranges for their weekly Uncrustable budget. And so it comes to probably when you estimate that there are some who did not participate, somewhere around 80,000 of these things together. Now, I want to get some because I want to know. Well, you know, but I'm really funny about not necessarily the bread, not necessarily the peanut butter. Although I don't like crunchy peanut butter, I like smooth.
Yeah, you can't have
skimpy,
crunchy
smooth.
peanut butter.
I like the crunchy
it's a
stuff.
texture thing, and I don't want it. And it's the same reason I don't like nuts in my cookies.
Yeah,
I don't want.
gotcha.
It's got to be. And then the jelly, I'm really. It's got to be strawberry jelly.
Well, they have strawberry ones. They do have them. I know this for a fact.
Not grape. I don't like grape. I like strawberry, but they have a bunch of, and they even have chocolate and peanut butter.
They do.
But we're running out of time. But very quickly, the secret is they tried when they were trying to come up with this concept. They kept having the jelly would leak out into the bread.
Ugh.
So they take peanut butter, put a dose of jelly in the middle of that, and cover it again with peanut butter.
Yeah, so it's encased in
so
peanut
that the
butter.
peanut butter is encasing the jelly.
Yeah,
and
smart.
that was the solution to how they came up with Uncrustables.
Nice.
Very good.
Wish I'd have come up with that idea.
Yeah, simple idea. But you've made 100 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in your life. You never thought this could be a big business.
No,
exactly.
Never thought it. You know, that's why we're not rich. 51 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. You ever notice how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you that thing you're ready for, that thing you want will be ready at 4, and you get there and it's not. Boy, doesn't that hack you off? If you've had it with unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to Eurofix. Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's supposed to be ready, so you're not standing around tapping your toe, wasting your valuable time. Eurofix repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer without dealer pricing. That's because dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of a dealership's overhead, and that is a lot of money. Why would you want to pay for that? At Eurofix, reliable means a 3-year nationwide warranty plus a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Make sure you call ahead. Loaner cars are very popular. If you're tired of unreliable repair shops, come to where it is reliable. Eurofix, family owned for 24 years. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
You know, Genesis Diamond's big and last store-wide sale of the year is coming. It's later this month, November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. It is an extraordinary event with a savings of 20, 25, even up to 35% store-wide. This is the event people wait for all year long. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing held back for this once-a-year, 3-day sale. Acclaimed designers from New York and California will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. It's like the biggest jewelry trunk show you ever seen times 10. Check out all the new collections, the latest styles in both fashion and bridal jewelry, plus get 0% interest financing so you can spread your payments out. Also, don't miss this year's best jewelry event, the one where they break all the rules. Yes, Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolex are also included. Check out their hard-to-find Rolex models and get special pricing for this event. Lab-grown diamonds also included. It is the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamonds, 3 days only, November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Only at Genesis Diamonds, my jewelry store, Green Hills in Cool Springs.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And election 2024, Republicans going to control both chambers of Congress. In the House, we see that Mike Johnson has support of Republican members as Speaker to remain Speaker. President-elect Trump naming his choices for several key seats in his new administration today. For Secretary of State, Trump tapping his one-time presidential primary opponent, Republican Senator Marco Rubio. Karen Travers says Trump's pick for Attorney General, Republican Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz.
If confirmed, he would lead the same agency that spent years investigating him over allegations of sex trafficking. The Justice Department informed him last year it would not seek charges, and Gaetz has long denied any wrongdoing.
Former Democratic Congresswoman turned Trump supporter Tulsi Gabbard's been chosen for Director of National Intelligence, and for Secretary of State, Trump nominating Fox News host Pete Hegseth. Both Gabbard and Hegseth are military veterans. John Thune was selected today as Senate Majority Leader to replace Mitch McConnell.
This Republican team is united. We are on one team. We are excited to reclaim the majority and to get to work with our colleagues in the House to enact President Trump's agenda.
And Sherry Preston on today's Biden-Trump meeting.
At the White House, a rare sit-down between President Biden and President-elect Trump. The current president welcomed the incoming president, both shaking hands and holding talks in the Oval Office. President Biden says there will be a smooth transition.
Thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get.
The White House says it appears the meeting lasted less than 2 hours, with Chief of Staff Jeff Zients and President-elect Trump's new Chief of Staff Susie Wiles also in attendance. The First Lady Jill Biden gave President-elect Trump a handwritten letter of congratulations for the former First Lady Melania Trump, who did not attend.
Well, Americans are charging it. Credit card debt reaching another all-time high. Dave Packer.
Americans' credit card balances ballooning to $1.17 trillion in the third quarter of this year, climbing $24 billion in just 3 months. Total household debt, including student loans, mortgages, and auto loans, now stands at nearly $18 trillion. Despite this, the New York Fed says rising disposable income is helping cushion the impact. Delinquency rates showed slight improvement last quarter, but more consumers are falling behind on payments compared to last year. Those balances and delinquencies often spike during the holiday season.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, checking South Nashville here. Got a crash reported by police 65 northbound at I-440. Then looks like Antioch, Mountain View Road, and Hickory Hollow Parkway. Police on the scene there. Williamson County, left shoulder block, 65 southbound after Concord Road, north of downtown. We've got Robertson County, a crash. Highway Patrol working 2 separate accidents. This is 24 westbound between Maxey Road and MLK Parkway. Rutherford County, Highway Patrol on the scene of a crash, 24 eastbound at Almaville Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 8 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Good evening, everyone. On this 13th day of November, I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy, or as they call me around here now, short timer. I'm not going to treat it like I'm a short timer, though.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I'm still in. I'm still fully engaged. I'm committed to going out strong on the 24th of December, my last full-time show. In case you missed it, I announced recently that I will be stepping back from full-time radio effective the 24th of December. And a lot of times between now and then, you're going to be, I'm going to be pulling back and only doing about 3 days a week. It's a little complicated, my schedule. Because I'm not going to be normally working Mondays and Fridays, and Matt Murphy's going to fill in on those days. But there's one Monday I'm going to work, which is the Radiothon.
Oh yeah, that's just a couple weeks away.
Yeah, and then there's one Wednesday when I'm not going to work, and that's because, and that was just because I was a bonehead. I don't know. I didn't.
Okay.
I sometimes I don't slow down to read things carefully, and I should, especially interoffice memos.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be here Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be here Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be here the day after Thanksgiving.
I don't think anyone's going to be here those 2 days.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So the best of those days.
Yeah.
But otherwise, between now and the 24th, generally speaking, I'll be working Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Got it.
Except when I'm not.
Got it.
And I won't be here Mondays and Fridays except when I am. Does that make any sense?
None at all. No.
No. Well, anyway. But I will be. My last official full-time broadcast of The Drive. The Drive reaches its final destination on Christmas Eve. We ought to have I don't know what we're going to do that day. What do you think we should do that day?
Wow,
I mean,
that's a
because
good
clearly
question.
it's my last day,
Yeah.
and short of that there being huge breaking news, which Christmas Eve likely there could be some, but I don't imagine it'd be huge.
Probably not.
We could probably just screw around the whole day.
Sounds like a plan.
You like that?
Yeah.
Are you going to be here?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be here.
You going to be here for my last show?
Oh yeah.
Is Weaver going to be here for my last show? Ask him if he's going to be here for my last show. Ken Weaver in the newsroom.
I think he's totally checked out back there.
Is he back there?
He's eating an apple again, I think.
I think he may be over there eating one of them Uncrustable peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
I think Ken will be here, yes.
All right.
I'm not mistaken.
All right. Because I'd be bummed if you guys weren't here for the last day.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
Yeah. What's he doing back there? He just left. He just pulled his backpack and he left.
He's a busy fella.
All right. So today's news. Look, in case you're just joining us and you haven't been listening to the radio or you're trying to catch up on what happened, it was an eventful day. I'm going to do this real quick. Added to the list of people who've been nominated by Donald Trump to fill some important position within his administration. Add to that list today a couple of really interesting choices that no doubt are going to get a tremendous amount of scrutiny up on Capitol Hill. Tulsi Gabbard to be the Director of National Intelligence. And that's an interesting choice. Then you got Matt Gaetz out of Florida, congressman out of Florida, sort of a firebrand, sort of a bomb thrower. He's been nominated to be the Attorney General of the United States. Now, I don't know. I'm going to tell you right here and now, based on my understanding of the confirmation process and where the votes lie in the United States Senate and the makeup of the Republican conference, and I'm not sure he can get confirmed. But that's who he's chosen, and it's a real bold choice, let's say that. Now, look, I hate Merrick Garland. Matt Gaetz would be an improvement over Merrick Garland any day. I don't have anything against Matt Gaetz. I think he's a bit of a bomb thrower. I think he's a little bit of a sort of a showboat. But I will say this. There are a lot of people in MAGA world who love him, and Trump loves him, and he gets to choose who he wants to choose. I just don't know he can get confirmed. I'll just be honest about it. So those are the big announcements today. And it goes. I think the big one last night was Pete Hegseth, a friend of this program, as Secretary of Defense, and there's a whole bunch more. But we've been reporting those for days. In the United States Senate, they have chosen a majority leader. Republicans will control that body, and the majority leader of the United States Senate, replacing Mitch McConnell, will be John Thune. Yeah, I know a lot of people in Trump world and a lot of people listening to this radio station were really going for Rick Scott. He washed out, as I predicted yesterday on this show that he would, in the first round of voting. He didn't have the support. So there were three guys. There was John Cornyn, John Thune, and Rick Scott. They begin the first ballot, and the idea here is that all three run, they give their little speeches, and they vote. If the person who got the lowest number of votes falls out in the first round, and that was Rick Scott. Then it was a runoff between John Cornyn and John Thune, and John Thune of South Dakota became the majority leader today. John Barrasso of Wyoming, the majority whip. Tom Cotton, the Republican conference chair. Shelley Capito will become of West Virginia, the policy chair. Congressman Tim Scott, the national, the NRCC. That's the branch of that goes after and promotes the next election and makes sure that Republicans continue to get elected. Very important. And James Lankford of Oklahoma will become the conference vice chair. So that's your new lineup in the United States Senate. In the House of Representatives, they took a vote today in Republican caucus. I don't understand what's going on with Associated Press, why they can't go ahead and call the House of Representatives for Republicans. Virtually everybody else in the world has. And those that just did basically as a policy follow the AP, which is Fox News, have not yet called the race. They have it at 217 Republicans with, I think, 11 seats left to add to be decided. And you don't get to control the House until you get to 218. Other organizations have projected and have it at 219 with a number of seats still to be decided. So, I think that it's fair to say that Republicans will control the House of Representatives. I believe that to be true. And why some have not called it, I don't know. But that's going to happen, and it will happen, and the Speaker of the House will be Mike Johnson. That apparently was made today. He will be the nominee of the Republican Party when they take that vote on the floor of the House, and he needs 218 votes to win. So virtually every member of the Republican caucus will have to vote for him, essentially, to become the next Speaker of the House. But I think that will happen. So those are sort of the big dog deal things that were happening. Trump was in Washington today, met in the Oval Office for about 2 hours with Joe Biden. It was said to be cordial. And I got a story here somewhere. Let's see. This is a story that people say, well, what did they talk about? Yes. Hang on. And I don't know, I can't find the story. But it was the New York Post who has said that it was a very, very good meeting, that they talked a lot about the Mideast and other hotspots around the world, foreign policy, et cetera. And Trump asked Biden for his take on certain things. That's, I think that's a good thing to do. You may not agree with his take on it, but it's good to know what his take is and what it's based on. And I think that was smart of Trump. But they had a little spray, what they called a spray in the Oval Office, and they came in, and it was very short and very sweet. It was very clear that Biden wanted to lead the thing, which he should, he's the president, and that Trump wanted to make a comment, and then Biden wanted to end it quick. So the cameras were kicked out in very short order, but they stayed there and talked for about 2 hours today. So there is that. That brings you up to date on sort of everything that happened in Washington today. I want to move on to some other stories. Well, let me hit this one real quick. This is about both Gaetz and Gabbard. This is from thehill.com. Now, you got to look at the Hill. Hill leans a little left, but one of the things that they do is they cover the Hill pretty well. And if you understand that some of their stuff is going to be looking at it from slight left, not hard left, but slight left, then, and by the way, they got a new managing editor, I think. It's a guy I know named Bill Salmon. He used to work at Fox. So they may be tilting back to the center. That'd be great. President-elect Trump stunned Washington with 2 controversial picks to lead important law enforcement and intelligence roles, tapping Matt Gaetz, Republican of Florida, to serve as Attorney General, and Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democrat representative, to serve as the nation's top intelligence jobs. He says, as Director of National Intelligence, you sit at the very top. You're above all the other intelligence agencies. You are the funnel through which all information must flow. So she will have all the secrets. Trump tapped a loyalist to lead a Justice Department he has railed against. Both, and you can understand why he's so angry at the Justice Department, right? I mean, we all get that. One he sees as a vehicle for carrying out the retribution he has vowed his perceived enemies would see under a second term. In Gabbard, Trump selected a figure who has floated numerous conspiracy theories, they write, that defy the conclusions reached by the U.S. intelligence agency she would oversee. She has routinely espoused narratives likewise peddled by Russia. So this again, the long knives are out for these two, you can tell. Gates' selection seemed to catch lawmakers off guard. He was not among the names reported to be up for the position, and Democrats are sure to raise that he previously investigated as part of a sex trafficking probe launched by the Justice Department. He still is under investigation by the House Ethics Committee. So that's that. As House Republicans met Wednesday afternoon to start leadership elections, one source said there were audible gasps when Gaetz was announced as Trump's pick for Attorney General. The pick also raised questions about Trump's ability to get his nominees through a Republican-led Senate. It will be interesting to see what his organic base is, says Senator Tom Tillis. At the end of the day, Congressman Gaetz, he'll probably have a hearing, but I'm all about counting votes, and I would think he's probably got some work cut out for him to get a good, strong vote. We're not going to get a single Democrat vote. I think that's likely. Gabbard is also likely to be a tough sell and expected to face opposition from a number of high-ranking national security and intelligence officials. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence prepares the president's daily brief, summarizing information collected among the 18 intelligence agencies so that the president can make key national security and foreign policy decisions. Gabbard has made a slew of pro-Russian comments that have prompted criticism on both sides of the aisle. Wasn't it Hillary? I think it's way back in 2019 that Hillary said that he thought that the Russians were grooming her. Yeah, I don't know. Just saying. That stuff is out there. You're going to hear it. Democrats are going to go after both of those. Big old time. Here's an interesting development. Special Counsel Jack Smith. Well, I'll talk about that in a moment. 21 past the hour. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine. Known for their basic smart care plans starting at $69 a month. That includes free office visits and free basic labs and diagnostic tests. At Grace Point, you are usually seen the same day or the next day. No long wait times in the wait room. Grace Point is your primary provider that treats the entire family from newborns to seniors. You know, when you get to a certain age, your hormones begin to fluctuate, taking a toll on your lifestyle. Grace Point provides comprehensive hormone testing and treatment for both men and women. Grace Point is also a military veteran-owned practice located in the heart of Franklin. Call this number, 599-6868, to schedule your next medical appointment. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
It is 25 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Catching up with Cabana Wife here. She wanders in, disrupts me this time of day.
Disrupts you.
Yeah, she disrupts me.
Sounded like she was taking your dinner order. You better watch out.
We're having chicken pot pie.
Ooh.
There you go. And maybe an Uncrustable, if she can find one.
Strawberry only.
Yeah, all strawberry only.
Yeah.
Okay, I was talking before we went to the break. Jack Smith will resign rather than be fired by Donald Trump. Special counsel Jack Smith, according to the Daily Fetch, is planning to resign from his post before President-elect Donald Trump is inaugurated in January to avoid the harassment of being fired. The Biden appointee must submit a summary of his case by December 2nd, even though it is likely it will never be tried. The filing, which will stop short of dropping the case entirely, will seek to vacate all charges related to Trump's words and actions around the January 6th riots. It is yet to be confirmed whether U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland will make the report public before Trump returns to the White House. However, sources say Smith has no intention of dragging his feet, confirming that his resignation will be coming within weeks. Smith filed a motion in the case on Friday, seeking to assess this unprecedented circumstance and determine the appropriate course going forward, consistent with Department of Justice policy. Trump pointed to a Supreme Court immunity ruling that expanded criteria for official presidential conduct ineligible for prosecution, and so now he's in the process of winding down all of his business. That would be great news. That would be great news. There we go. Oh, here it is. Donald Trump. This is the story I was looking for a minute ago. New York Post. Donald Trump reveals exclusively to the New York Post what he and Biden spoke about today in their closed-door 2-hour meeting. President-elect Donald Trump told the New York Post Wednesday that he and President Biden both really enjoyed seeing each other and when they sat down for a historic post-election get-together in the Oval Office. You know, it's been a long slog, the 78-year-old said during a phone interview as he left Washington. It's been a lot of work on both sides, and he did a very good job with respect to campaigning and everything else. We really had a good meeting. That's good to know. I mean, I'm glad that it was a productive meeting. That's a good sign. The last two presidents of the United States discussed the transition of power on January 20th, with Trump telling Biden in front of the world's press that it would be as smooth as it can be following the Republicans' attempt to contest the results 4 years ago. It's going very smoothly, Trump told the Post, of the process of picking officials for his second term, added that the Republican transition team and the Biden White House enjoy a very good relationship, says Donald Trump. President-elect added that he and Biden did discuss two issues on which they have differed in the past: the war in Ukraine, which Trump has promised to end almost immediately upon taking office, and the ongoing war in the Middle East, with the Republican standard-bearer accusing the Biden administration of being insufficiently supportive of Israel. I asked for his views, and he gave them to me. Also, we talked very much about the Middle East. Likewise, I wanted to know his views on where we are and what he thinks, and he gave them to me. He was very gracious, says Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Trump has issued a major warning to Vladimir Putin. The new report claims that the president-elect warned Russia last Thursday not to escalate the war in Ukraine, emphasizing that the United States has a significant military presence in Europe. This, according to American Military News. The Washington Post reported that multiple sources confirmed Trump spoke with Putin on Thursday following his election victory. A person with knowledge of the president's-elect's call told the Washington Post that Trump warned Putin not to escalate Russia's war against Ukraine and pointed to the U.S. military presence in Europe as a deterrent against further aggression. One source familiar with the phone call said the two world leaders talked about mutual goals for peace in Europe. The source also told the Washington Post that Trump indicated he was interested in having additional discussions to talk about the resolution of Ukraine's war very, very soon. 30 minutes now past the hour. Hey, let me tell you about the folks over at Busy Bee. They want to ask a question. Do you have relatives coming to your house for Thanksgiving? Let Busy Bee help by ensuring your home is in-law and relative ready. Busy Bee has a limited number of SEER 1 1/2 to 3 ton split heat pumps for residential unit replacement only, $6,995. Includes labor, equipment, material, and warranty. This system offers a great balance of energy efficiency, performance, and year-round comfort for residential unit replacements. How about $750 off an upright tanked water heater with circulation kit, or maybe a free package upgrade for air duct cleaning? If you buy, like, say, the basic air duct cleaning, they'll upgrade to the next level package for free. For example, if you buy the middle tier package, they automatically upgrade you to the premium air duct cleaning. Real bargain there. Lastly, give a free Beehive membership to your in-laws. You must currently have a Beehive membership to qualify for the additional free Beehive membership for your in-laws. Busy Bee is bringing families together. For satisfaction guarantee, call Busy Bee HVAC, your Rude Pro partner, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It is 38 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Here for another 22 minutes or so. Then we're going to hand it over to Mark Levin after the news, and he will carry on through the evening. There's a lot going on. I mean, boy, what a busy time it is. If you are following, and, you know, look, I want to just put a bug in your ear. No, I don't want to put a bug in your ear. That'd be weird. I just want to put a little thing for you to think about. Number one, we are in a busy time. And I think there's an instinct to people who've been sort of exhausted by, you know, the election and the run up to the election. And now, well, our side has won decisively, controlling the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. Really couldn't have asked for a better outcome. We got a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court that may eventually turn into a 7-2 conservative Supreme Court. That's entirely possible. It could happen. And so all of these things you're feeling pretty good about things. And there's an instinct, I say, I need a break. Don't turn your eye away. This time between now and January 20th is so important. Number one, you got a lame duck Congress. They need a lot of watching, and that's what I'll be doing as long as I'm in this chair. And then the other thing that you need really to know is that the fights are now being established. The things that are happening today with the announcement of certain people for certain jobs in the Trump administration, there's many of them that require a Senate confirmation process. Those battles are going to be hard fought. So what I would say to you is you can't stop being vigilant. You've got to stay plugged in the days ahead, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of important things that are happening, and you need to stay tuned in to make sure you're up to speed on all of it, right? Okay. Here's a series of stories that I want to end the day on. Some of them are local. This is a compendium. Let's just mash them together. We haven't mashed in a while, have we?
Yeah, it's been a while.
All right, here we go. This is, and then not all of these, we're not being light with the news because some of this is serious. Tennessee violent crime clearance rate sits at 35%. According to WKRN, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is working to improve the state's violent crime clearance rate. Director David Roush told Governor Bill Lee during a budget hearing Tuesday the state's rate is about 35%, which is 5% higher than the national average. As we look at violent crime clearance rates throughout the country, they are not in a good spot. He says that staffing is one of the main ways to help get a case to court for prosecutors. There are cases that are going to be cleared by exception because there's no longer a suspect, maybe deceased, but I think prosecution rates are probably the more refined way of seeing how impactful we can be on violent crime. They need staffing in specific areas like intelligence analysts, cold cases, aviation teams, and victims services. 35%. I would have thought it would have been a little higher, but that's the way it goes. Solving crime is hard. Item number 2. That's just rude. That is something Nashville is looking into eliminating grocery tax, according to the mayor. What? I'm speechless. Fast Freddy wants to cut a tax? But if you're going to cut one, this is the one to go. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell stated that his team is looking into what it would cost to eliminate the county's grocery tax. Earlier this year, Governor Bill Lee signed a law that allows the city governments to lower tax rates. It went into effect on October 1. I think the passage of this referendum means that it's actually something we can now take a serious look at. We'll be looking at a number of things as we approach the fiscal year 26 budget. We have a new finance director on board and want to evaluate things knowing that this is an appraisal year, but that is something that we will probably at least look at to get a cost estimate. So there you have it. Would the state legislature, the city council go for that? Yeah, I think they probably would. Some Democrats, I don't like this idea. Last year in mid-November, Representative Afton Ben and Senator Charlene Oliver sponsored a bill to eliminate Tennessee's grocery tax. Tennessee is one of 13 states with a grocery tax at 4%, one of the highest in the nation. Ben and company wanted to replace the grocery tax with taxes on large companies within the volunteer state. That's not going anywhere. But maybe, they can find the money. Look, is there money being squandered inside Davidson County? Yes, there is. They got a bunch of good, feel-good programs. Let's take care of people first, and where they live. And one of the ways you do that is you make sure they can afford to eat and afford to live. So, yeah, that'd be a good thing. I'd like that a lot. I don't know. I may have to go find another story because I got 2 left, and I'm seeing I don't know if this is going to time out right or not.
Talk slowly.
Well, coming up next. This is, let's go with story number 3. Here on the drive, we pride ourselves on what, Chris? What do we pride ourselves on, Chris?
A I don't know. What do we pride
Important moon news never gets
moon
past
news.
us.
That's right.
We are the reciprocal for the repository is the word I'm looking for. Repository for moon news.
Not the suppository of moon.
No, that's a different thing altogether. November's supermoon. We have another supermoon coming in just a couple of days. Well, actually, it starts tonight.
Huh.
The full moon. I happened to be out last night a little late. And I happened to notice the moon was very bright, but it wasn't quite full. So the supermoon, the last supermoon of the year, will be visible between today and Sunday. And then after that, the next supermoon will not be visible until October of 2025.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean,
we've had a lot this year.
Yeah, we had a lot this year, and it's weird how it all works. I don't understand it. It's when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars and all that stuff. And guess what they call this moon? You'll never in a million years guess what they call this. I mean, we've had what? The Sturgeon moon. We've had the Harvest moon. I forget. There's been 4 big supermoons. You know what they call this one?
The Gobbler.
No.
No?
The Beaver moon.
Oh, I was way off.
Yeah. The Beaver moon will be visible from November 13th through the 17th. It will reach peak on the 15th at 3:29 p.m. Of course, that's going to be daylight for us. But the best viewing will be that evening. November 15th, the evening of November 15th.
Yeah. Probably not going to see anything tonight because we got rain.
Yeah, that's right. So, but the moon will be there. You just won't be able to see it.
Yep.
While cultures around the world have different names for the full moons, in the United States, we use names tied to the Native American, Colonial American, and European folklore. The November beaver moon is based on beavers.
Wow. You don't say.
How about that? Who would have thunk that? And they tend to begin sheltering for the winter around this time of year. So beavers apparently very active.
Building those dams, huh?
Building those dams. What is a supermoon? Well, remember, the moon does not have a circular. It has a what? What does it have? An
elliptical?
Elliptical. That's right. Let's say that's correct. That's right. You're right. Around our planet, and there are 2 key phases to determine when a moon is a supermoon in the orbit. Perigee is when the moon reaches its closest point to the Earth in orbit. The opposite of perigee is apogee, when the moon is at its further point. Perigee and apogee happen in a lunar cycle, but a supermoon only happens when the perigee occurs on a full moon. So we get about 3 or 4 a year, but there will only be 3 supermoons in 2025. And many of them, and they're all late in the year. Weird. October, November, December.
Very interesting.
We had a good run of moons this year.
Yes, we did.
The moon news was very plentiful.
Yep.
We didn't have any trouble getting through all of that. Finally, our last story, Trump whale scores 85 million windfall on election. Now, you may remember that the election, there was what they call the poly market, where you bet on the outcome of the race. There was some guy who apparently known as the Trump whale, had 11 accounts on Polymarket and more than the 4 accounts that were earlier known. It's a crypto-based betting platform. So here's your hints. It's a betting platform. It's crypto-based. Popularity surged in recent months when bettors piled into its contacts on the presidential election. Americans are not allowed to trade on Polymarket. I didn't know that. The Trump whale wagers drew attention. He put a lot of money down after the Wall Street Journal reported that multiple accounts on the platform had been systematically purchasing wagers on a Trump victory. The mystery trader has declined to share his or her identity, but has been communicating with the Journal reporter since October 18th. Polymarket has said the Trump whale is a French national with extensive trading experience and a background in financial services. A person close to the Polymarket confirmed that the 11 accounts belong to the French trader. The 7 previously unknown accounts with obscure names such as Rep Trump, Junzingo, and Mika Trade 77 were all created in October after the whale's bets began to draw public attention. In total, the whale bet more than $70 million across all the accounts, continuing to wager through Election Day, and all 11 accounts appear on Polymarket's leaderboard showing its 20 most profitable users. The man who calls himself Theo said he initially acknowledged having only 4 accounts and downplays the side of his bet for reason of personal safety and to limit the disruption in his personal life should my identity be disclosed. But he was an individual acting on his own. He funded the bets himself. I'm the only one. I'm wealthy enough and was confident in my own analysis. He declined to share his identity. The Journal has been unable to verify whether he could fund such a huge bet himself. The Journal hasn't been able to rule out links between Theo and any political organizations or Trump allies. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to know who that is. $85 million.
What if he needs a friend?
That's right. I mean, I'd like to be his friend.
Yeah.
You know, I heard Joe Rogan say that apparently Elon Musk had developed some kind of app, and it accurately called the election very early in the night, and he went home early.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Something. 50 minutes now past the hour. Restoration Wellness is a leader in advanced therapy treatments for arthrosis and chronic pain in Middle Tennessee. The chronic pain affects 20% of all adults in the U.S., and chronic pain increases with age, affecting nearly 50% of all adults over the age of 65. Don't let your chronic pain control your life. Restoration Wellness has the newest technology in joint injections, a minimally invasive treatment to relieve pain without needing surgery. Restoration Wellness joint injection treatment can help relieve anything from shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, everything in between. They put together personalized treatment plans specific to your needs with an office consultation. Now let the team at Restoration Wellness help you achieve your health goals this year. Call the Restoration Wellness team today at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, Restoration Wellness Med Spa, to book a consultation today. My friends Carly and Jamie will take good care of you like you're part of their own family. So say goodbye to your chronic pain and get a new lease on life. Do not let chronic pain control your life.